College football Saturday in the city of Riverside. We are here at Ramona High School as the Tigers of RCC take on the Cougars of College of Canyons. Good afternoon. Ghazal Hassan with you, along with Jeff Gorham. And Jeffrey, the Tigers have lost just 3 times in their last 32 trips out onto the field. One of those losses was last year on October 2nd at the hands of these very College of the Canyons Cougars.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you are Coach Kraft, you're going to remember that they lost last year. You circled that one. They beat Golden West last week, took care of business after losing to them last year. And I'll tell you what, Kraft knows he has to make up those losses by a win today.
The Tigers come in, Jeff, they're 5-0, ranked number 1 in the state, ranked number 3 in the nation. Really the only thing Tom Kraft seems to have to guard against is complacency.
Yeah, you can't have a snake-bite game because we're playing for national championships, we're playing for state championships. We're not playing for second place. Coach Kraft knows that. He cannot let down at all.
All right, on the Canyon side, head coach Ted Hacienda, they've lost their last 2 games, but very close games to both Fullerton and to Palomar. What do they do? What do the Cougars need to do today to kind of stay with the Tigers?
You're going to have to stop this offense. That offense has been prolific all season long, and if College of the Canyons is going to do anything, they're going to either have to stop the Retzlaff brothers or the run, and both won't happen.
Yeah, as good as the Tigers' offense has been, their defense has also stepped up. We tip of the cap to James Cook. He'll have his hands full tonight. These Cougars are pretty prolific. They can throw the ball and they can run the ball, Jeff.
Well, I'll tell you what, you have the best linebacking core in the state of California. You have great DBs, and that defensive line will get to that quarterback.
Coming up momentarily, it's the Tigers and the Cougars coming up. SCFA football on Riverside TV.
I'm Cheech Marin, and we're inviting you to reserve your spot for the inaugural showing of Cheech Collects. So get your tickets today. We're looking for you.
Live local. Help support your favorite businesses with the Shop Riverside Community Card. With over 200 Riverside businesses giving exclusive discounts and offers to community card holders, there's something for everyone. Participating organizations sell these cards for only $15 each, with $10 going straight back to the organization itself, making the Shop Riverside Community Card a fantastic way to support your favorite local group. For more information about the Shop Riverside Community Card and to find participating businesses, please visit shopriversidenow.com. And don't forget to live local. Shop Riverside.
Welcome to Ramona High School. Ghazal Hassan with you, along with Jeff Gorham. Third member of our broadcast team, Nick Rice, down along the sidelines. We'll hear from him momentarily, but the Tigers will start with the football. Teeing it up for College of Canyons is Ty Morrison. Morrison, a sophomore out of Valencia High School. He has a very strong leg according to his head coach, Iasenda. Kicked off into the end zone. Fielded from the 3-yard line. Moving to the outside, here's Bryce Young. Strong, hurdling the 25 down to about the 28-yard line. And that's where RCC will start it off. So Bryce Strong, the freshman out of Ontario, with the return. It'll be 1st and 10, and that explosive offense take hold for the Tigers, Jeff.
Yeah, I am looking really forward to watching this offense. I mean, they're putting up some big numbers, over 49 points a game on the year. But what? Coach Kraft has this team going on all cylinders.
So Retzlaff to the near side, Lacey on the far slot. Jake Retzlaff will take the pistol snap. Here's Espadron in motion. Here comes the pressure, sidearm delivery. Complete to Valentine. Valentine 40, toe tap and down to the 45-yard line. Tackle on the play for Canyons made by Justin Horton. Horton, a sophomore out of Sherman Oaks, prepped at Notre Dame, played for Kevin Rooney. And a 12-yard pickup to the 45. And looks like the Tigers a little bit of tempo here.
Yeah, Riverside did this the last game when we were at home. They went no-huddle offense here the first series, just kind of get some rhythm going.
1st and 10. Here's the give to Valentine. Leans forward for a couple of yards. Initial contact on the play made by Isai Martinez. Justin Horton also got a hand in there for the tackle. 2nd and 8 coming up from the 47-yard line. So Reggie Retzlaff split out to the near side. Split out to the top of your screen is Devin Gitchaway. Here comes the pressure. Checks off to Valentine, and he'll be tackled at about the 48-yard line. First man to him is Brian Snoke, the sophomore from Paderborn in Germany. So a 3rd down and about 7 coming up. They need to get to the Canyon 45, so I actually call it 3rd and 6.
Yeah, and Gasol, there's a few international players in today's game. A couple guys from Germany. You said a guy from Sweden.
3 receivers in the formation. Gitchaway and Lacey to the top of your screen. Split to the near side is Reggie Retzlaff. 3rd down play. Here's the throw over the middle. Tipped and nearly caught by Retzlaff, incomplete. Snoke on the coverage. Gets help from Quentin Moten. Moten, an Inland Empire kid. He's out of Rancho Cucamonga. 4th down.
Yeah, if you are the Retzlaff brothers, wide receiver there just nearly had his hand on one hand on the ball, and the ball tipped.
So nice job by the defense of Canyons to stop RCC. Back to receive for the Cougars, Calvin Littles and Zion Slade. On to punt for UC Riverside is Jared Campbell, the sophomore from Rochester. So Canyons calls timeout. Our officials today, the referee is Shane Smith. Our umpire, Charlie Chastain. Dan Kaminsky, the head linesman. Kent Bukarow, the line judge. Daryl Brooks, the field judge. Nicholas Frescus, the side judge. And Dwayne Bergman, the back judge. I always wanted to be a line judge, Jeff, but back judge seems like a very interesting job.
Yeah, but back judge, isn't that the guy that he can get drilled if you're not careful? You got to be dodging. I don't know if you and I could do that.
Head on a swivel. Yeah, we're a little old now. 10 years ago, we both could have done it. Easy.
That was when we were wiry and cagey.
Lean and mean.
Lean,
Well,
mean.
I was lean and pleasant. You were lean and mean.
Now I'm portly and pleasant.
Campbell, standing at the 35-yard line, will take the snap and puts his foot into it. Oh, nearly blocked on the play. Ball bouncing inside the 15, out of bounds at the 14-yard line. 37-yard kick, no return, and the flag comes out. Nearly blocking the kick was DeWitt Wassey.
He had his hand on the ball, but just landed on the kicker.
I think it's a running into a kicker penalty.
Exactly.
So RCC, they'll actually, it's weird. They could have kicked it or went a 4th and 2. Tom Kraft declines the penalty, and it'll be 1st and 10 Canyons from the 14-yard line. So they'll say it went out at the 15, and it'll be 1st and 10 Canyons at the 15. Bryce Dixon runs out as the quarterback, the freshman out of Lancaster, Quartz Hill. So we're going to see a couple of different quarterbacks this afternoon, Jeff. He's at the controls right now for Canyons. 1st and 10 from the 15. Here's the give. Dancing inside and leaning forward, maybe for a yard, twisting down on the carry is Ja'Kai Torres. Torres, a freshman from L.A., out of St. Bernard in the Playa del Rey area.
Riverside with 4 guys up front.
So call it 2nd and 9. Here's the give right back to Torres. He tries to squeeze through that right side, runs right into Talib Salahuddin. Also there to help him out is Nick Smith, and he'll go maybe for a yard. So give him a yard on that play. That defensive front still pretty impressive. It looks like they're going a 3-man front here with Alonzo Gray on one end, Alex Silva Navarro, in essence, playing a nose, and then Talib Salahuddin on the right side.
Salahuddin, watch his quickness, see if he can get by here.
3rd down and 8. Showing blitz, and there's some movement. False start will be whistled against Canyons. When I talked to Ted Iacenda about the last 2 games, and you mentioned they lost 2 close games to 2 good teams, he really said, listen, we've been plagued by mistakes the last 2 weeks. We've turned the ball over. We've put our defense in bad positions. We need the offense to kind of shoulder a little bit of the load here and put us in good situations against RCC. So call it a 3rd and 13 after the penalty.
It appears, I thought Riverside got back to the line here. But no, they're going to.
So the officials giveth, the officials taketh away. A 5-yard false start and now a 5-yard offside penalty. So we'll split the difference. It'll be 3rd and 8. Tigers defense needs to get off the field here. Split out to the far side, Calvin Littles for Canyons. Looking to throw. He's got time. And now Dixon will have to run for it. 20, trying to get up to the 25-yard line. He'll step out of bounds for the first down. Trying to make the play was DeMarco Moorer. But let's see where they mark it. Looks like they marked it right at the marker, and now they're signaling first down.
Yeah, he made something out of nothing. He had plenty of time, but just no one to throw to in the field. Able to run up, get that first down.
Big 3rd down conversion for College of Canyons. So Zion Slade now moves to a trips formation at the top of your screen. Here's the give, darting up and inside, lunging forward for a couple of yards on the play. That's J.D. Sumlin. Sumlin, the freshman out of Alemany. 2nd and 8 coming up, and a player down. Looks like a Cougar is slow to get up on the field. So Sumlin down. And the training staff out there for Canyons, led by their 10th-year head coach, Ted Iacenda, 62-29 record coming in. Had been previously an assistant coach. He was an assistant coach in the early 2000s in the 2004 Canyon State Championship team and has a pretty good run as head coach. We mentioned they beat RCC last year. The previous meeting was in the Southern California, the SCFA Championship in 2019, and the Tigers won that one fairly decisively, Jeff.
So the rubber match is in effect.
Indeed it is.
But you talked about Coach. He has a great pedigree as a player as well.
Played in the Pac-12. He played at USC. You know, he was a big-time running back out of Hart. Then John Robinson recruited him to USC. He ended his career playing at the University of New Mexico for Rocky Long.
Rocky Long, great longtime coach of San Diego State guy, just like our guy, Tom Kraft.
Maybe there's a little bit of a connection there. Maybe that's why Tom Kraft understands kind of how to work against Coach Iacenda. So 2nd down coming up. Split out to the bottom of the screen is Littleberry. Taking it himself and running right into Salahuddin. He breaks off that tackle and surges over the 30 to the 32-yard line. So a 3rd down and manageable coming up. Nice run by Bryce Dixon, eluding the capture of Talib Salahuddin. Not many guys get away from him once he's got them in their sights, Jeff.
He's the one guy you never want chasing you. He is a piece of granite. It's like getting hit with a rock.
Littles to the top of the screen, Slade in the near slot. Jacoby Taylor to the far side. 3 receivers in the formation. 3rd down coming up. Line to get is just over the 35. So call it a 3rd and 4. Back to throw. Gets it out of his hand quickly. Incomplete. The intended receiver on the play was Joshua Littleberry, the sophomore from Mansfield, Texas. On the coverage for RCC. Looked like you Peterson Lewis in there. Gage Summers also in the vicinity. And the punt comes up. Ty Morrison will punt the ball. Fair catch being called by Espadron at the 20-yard line. So a 49-yard kick, no return. Nice job by Morrison. We'll go down to Nick Rice.
All right, guys, Tigers head coach Tom Kraft, well before the game, had implored that the team needs to do a much better job running the ball. In fact, that was their theme for week 1 of the year, and that's their theme now. They had a tough time running in the opening drive. We'll see if they can run it a little better on this one. Guys?
Welcome back. Nick, I'm sure whatever you said was brilliant. We did not hear it, unfortunately. So 1st and 10 from the 20 is where RCC will tee it up. 9:19 to play first quarter, no score. Both offenses have seen one series and gone out. Spinning down 4-yard line for the Tigers is Robert Valentine. Valentine, the sophomore from Arlington High School in Riverside. We were just at Arlington High School, Jeff.
We've been at Arlington the last couple of weeks, bringing out some guys. There's been a lot of players, though, that have come through RCC.
So give him forward progress to about the 25. Norbert Espadron in the near slot, second down play. In and out of Espadron's hands. Combining on the coverage on the play was Tylen Foster, the sophomore from Cypress, Texas, and Justin Horton. More third down and 4 coming up. I always like the count there on Sesame Street. Six cobs of corn. You like the count? You ever like the count?
I love the count. I was more of a Cookie Monster guy, but no, the count.
That makes sense. That makes complete sense, Jeff.
I love the cookies, but yeah, the count is one of my all-time favorites.
2-by-2. Third down. Retzlaff throws. Incomplete. Intended receiver was Norian Espadron. One-on-one on the coverage is Justin Horton. So the first trend we see is man coverage on these passing situations. Both times in third down, Jeff, Canyons has been in man coverage.
They've been in man coverage, and I'll tell you what, it looks like either the quarterback didn't know the play or the receiver. They just look completely out of sync here early, unlike we've seen the last few weeks from Riverside.
So this is one of the issues that Coach Iacenda addressed with me. He said, hey, our defense needs to give our offense an opportunity to have good field position, and here's one such scenario coming up as Campbell puts his foot into it. He'll punt the ball. It'll be caught at the 35-yard line. Making the move is Littles. He'll reverse field to the 40-yard line, waiting for a block. He'll turn the corner. He'll get into RCC territory, and he'll saunter out of bounds at about the 35-yard line. So a 39-yard kick, the return nearly 30 yards, depending on where they mark it. Call it 29, and it'll be 1st and 10, Canyons from the 36. How about Calvin Littles making a play?
I'll tell you what, they've come out, and they look prepared. I mean, Riverside, like I said, out of sorts. Last week, they only punted one time in that 58-point massacre at Golden West. So they've already punted a couple times here already in the first quarter. So
the hold called on the play, it'll come back. It'll go back to the 25-yard line. So Littles did his job, but, of course, the penalty will put it back to the 25. So not as good field position as we thought it might be for Canyons. They'll get another opportunity on offense.
Yeah, they dodged a proverbial bullet right there.
The offense this year for Canyons, they've been able to put up some points, not so much in the last 2 weeks. The first two, they kind of roared out of the gate with a couple of big wins. From the 25, it's 1st and 10. Bryce Dixon at the controls for Canyons. 3 receivers to the bottom of your screen. The quick throw out of the backfield is complete to the 20, up to the 29, out of bounds to the 31-yard line. Reception on the play for Canyons. Ball went to Jordan Anderson. Anderson, the sophomore from Golden Valley in Santa Clarita.
And watching that College of the Canyons last week against Fullerton, they did throw the ball a lot in the flat.
Fullerton, though, was able to jump the gap and get a couple hands on the football. Let's see if Riverside can do the same.
6-yard pickup, 3-man front here. Here's the give again. He'll be dragged down from behind after maybe a yard on the play. Numerous Tigers got to him. The first man there, though, Alex Silva Navarro, makes the tackle, maybe a yard, brings up 3rd down. So a couple of changes in the defensive backfield. No Jalen Carter today for RCC, and you see they've made the move to the 3-man front, Jeff.
Yes, they have. Now they're bringing up everybody here to see if they go with the blitz package.
Line is the 31, 3rd down. Rolling right, Dixon throwing. It's complete right at the marker. Moore, one of the Tigers that's there, it'll be good enough for a 1st down. Ball is complete to Joshua Littleberry. Littleberry, the sophomore out of Mansfield, Texas.
Yeah, and Littleberry able to get inside that 1st down.
11 catches on the year for Littleberry coming in, averaging 14 yards a catch. And Coach ISN said this is a talent. He's still kind of learning a little bit, though, waiting on some development from him. Movement on the right side. Here's the free play. Nearly complete to Littleberry. Coverage on the play for RCC. Bryce Tate in there, but a flag came in. Let's see what the flag is.
Going to be offsides against Riverside. But remember when we had the Tigers here last time, last home game, the opposing team really tried to take advantage of the middle of the field against Riverside. It worked for a bit, but the defense really picked it up and adjusted well in that second half in that victory.
So 1st down and 5 now after the offside penalty. 2nd penalty on the Tigers of RCC. And here's the give and not going anywhere. How do you do from the defense of Arturo Orozco, the sophomore from San Dimas, emphatically explaining to us why San Dimas high school football rules.
It does rule.
Jordan Anderson was the ball carrier. He's pushed back to the 40-yard line. 2nd and 6 coming up. First quarter, no score as of yet. About halfway done here. Just under 7 minutes to play, or actually we're almost to 6 minutes to play here in the first quarter, so more than halfway. Talking about the count earlier. Dixon thrown to the outside and dropped. Jacoby Taylor had 2 hands on it, couldn't quite reel it in. Coming up and making the play, Keithon Gooden on the defense.
Well, Riverside showing blitz, nearly gets to the quarterback. But Canyon's really hitting that outside of the field here.
So 3rd down and 6 coming up.
And they've, so far, they're 2 of 3 on 3rd down efficiency here.
Tavian Jenkins to the top of your screen. Trips to the near side. Bottom of your screen is Littleberry. Right next to him is Calvin Littles. Closest to the quarterback is the tight end. That's Josh Smith.
You said Little and Littleberry.
A little tricky sometimes. They do have Calvin. It's Littles. So Calvin Littles.
I thought that sounds like the Lost Boys from Peter Pan.
And then Joshua Littleberry. Yeah. A little bit of a fairy tale aspect to this Cougars offense. 3rd and 11 after the penalty. 4th penalty on the Cougars. They've been assessed 25 yards. 2 penalties thus far on RCC. They've been assessed 10 yards worth. Those, of course, are accepted penalties. 5 receivers in the formation on the 3rd and 11. And the ball's knocked down at the line of scrimmage. The big fella getting a big paw up. That was Nick Smith. The sophomore used to play for our friend Matt Logan up at Centennial.
He is a beast. Long arms.
That's not very nice, Jeff.
That's not?
Oh, you mean that in a good way?
I did.
Okay.
I thought we were still in the fairy tale.
That's right. Well, in fairy tales, beasts aren't very good, Jeff.
Hey, well, beauty.
That's true. Fair enough. 4th down. Here's the kick from Morrison. It'll drive Williams back, and he skips by him. Did he touch it is the question.
Yes, he did.
Recovered for Canyons by Joshua Christopher, and Ted Iacenda was talking to us, hey, we need to clean up mistakes. The Tigers make a mistake there on the punt return.
Well, we talked about it in the opening. You can't have a snake bite game. If you want to be a national champion, 3rd in the country right now, you are number 1 in the state. You can't make mistakes like that because this team is ready. They beat you last year. They know what it takes.
Canyon's football on the 7-yard line. Alfred Jordan didn't catch the ball, didn't fair catch the ball, didn't make sure that he had the ball secure, and now it'll be Canyon football.
And that's, I think they didn't give him a right spot. I mean, he looked a lot closer than that even to the end zone.
So here's the jumbo backfield for Canyons. Anthony Spearman and Jordan Anderson flank the big fella, Jaquarian Iodon. Here's Spearman, and he'll get bent back, lose a couple of yards. First man there for RCC was Kyle Jordan, and a couple of his buddies showed up. It'll be a loss. Let's see where they mark it. They'll mark it back to the 8-yard line. Second and goal coming up.
Hey, if you're Riverside and you can get out of here with just giving up 3 points, that's a success. But tell you what, Riverside just out of sorts completely. You see if their defense can hold up here.
So Jaquarian Ladson, the big fella in the middle of the two running backs. Here's the give again to Spearman, and he stumbles down over that right side. He'll get inside the 5 to the 4-yard line, and that was Kyle Jordan again around the football. Third and goal. So a big turnover, a fumble inside the 10-yard line on a punt return. So third down coming up. We're under 5 minutes to play in the first quarter. Now the traditional offense goes in. Split out to the top of the screen is Tavius Jenkins. Spearman is the lone setback. Taylor to the bottom of your screen, flanked by Littles and Slade. Third and goal. Throw to the outside. That's a touchdown. Tavius Jenkins out of Waterloo, Iowa makes the catch. No, they're going to say he was down. Wow. Ted Asienda holding his hand, holding both hands aloft. That's a tight meeting, explaining, hey, that's a touchdown. And I'll be honest with you, we're on the opposite side of the field. Looked like a touchdown to me.
It sure did.
So here we go, fourth and goal.
But Riverside, like I said, they went man-to-man once again, and it was one-on-one.
So full house backfield. Spearman, he's in. Touchdown, Spearman, and now the Cougars have the lead. So off the turnover by the Tigers, the Cougars capitalize, Jeff, and take the lead here at 3:46 of the first quarter. Anthony Spearman with a 1-yard run.
Hey, I know you can't do this and say it's not halftime, but Coach Kraft and his staff need to readjust here, maybe get a reset, because they have come out completely flat.
Ty Morrison puts it through. It's 7-0. So the big play was the fumble off the punt. Alfred Jordan couldn't quite field it, and it was recovered by Joshua Christopher for the Cougars, the College of Canyons. A couple of plays later, Anthony Spearman punches it in after we thought Tavius Jenkins had the touchdown, but they score nonetheless, and it's 7-0, and Canyons jumps out on top. And coming off those two losses. Now, to be fair, they played a couple of tough squads. They had Fullerton at home and had to go on the road to Palomar. Both in the Tigers will play Palomar later in the year. I think we'll have that one.
The former home of Coach Kraft. Have you ever been to Palomar?
We actually won't have it. I think the games we have left are El Camino and Mount Sac. I don't think we'll have Palomar.
Have you been to Palomar, though?
I've driven through. I've not been on the campus, no.
They have one of those Quonset Hut gymnasiums. Looks like a geometric dome.
The Espadron brothers back, but will take no need. That's a touchback. And when I talked to Coach Iasenda this week, he was really effusive in his praise of the kicker, Ty Morrison. And he's out of Santa Clarita. He said he's got a really strong leg. I have a lot of confidence in him. He actually told me, he said, I'm comfortable with him kicking a 60-yard field goal. He said he's got 60-yard range. And how coaches are sometimes. And I said, you would put him on the field. He's like, in the right situation, I would absolutely send him out to kick a 60-yarder.
But see, he could have been saying it because he knows that we are such big Chavez fans.
Maybe.
Being the great Ricardo Chavez.
Here's the give up the middle. maybe a yard or two on the play as he's bent back.
In fact, at halftime, I believe we're going to have an update on Ricardo Chavez.
We actually won't. We won't.
We won't.
They're going to post it. They're going to post it later, though.
Oh,
so
okay.
We'll be good. That was Jaquez Jones, the sophomore from Clearwater, Florida. They mark him up to the 27-yard line. 2nd and 8 coming up. Jones in the backfield now. Split out to the bottom of your screen is Jordan Williams. 2-by-2. Play action. Retzlaff dancing. Now he's being chased, directing traffic over the 30 up to about the 32-yard line. So he had to run with it. Nice job again with the coverage downfield by Canyons, Jeff.
Yeah, they have really taken care of business here. I mean, they're really pressuring a lot on Retzlaff. Retzlaff, right now, he's just 2 for 5 for 14 yards.
So Jordan Williams to the bottom of your screen. In the near slot is Lacey. 3rd down. Retzlaff slings it. Incomplete. Intended receiver was Gitchaway. And here comes the punt team.
So after only punting one time last week, already coming out for the 3rd time.
So Dan Corbett deserves some credit, the defensive coordinator for Canyons. He has really stifled the Tigers' offense thus far over the course of the first quarter. Canyons on top, 7-0. The Tigers, the number 1 team in the state. They ranked 3rd in the country according to JC Gridiron. And the Canyons, though, making a showing thus far here in the first quarter. Here's the punt. Landed about the 38, then takes a Canyons bounce before it's downed by a Tiger player at the 41-yard line. So a 29-yard kick, no return. Good field position for the Cougars. They already have a lead, Jeff.
Yeah, and there has been virtually no offense coming from Riverside. In fact, they're only averaging just 2.7 yards per play. They only have 27 total yards. Could you really think back to when RCC only had 27 yards of offense this season?
They've had first quarters where they've had 5 plays of more than 27 yards.
Yes.
So Canyons back out there with the lead, and they'll have good field position. 1st and 10 from the 40. Bryce Dixon, 11 of 14 on the year, coming in with a touchdown and interception, and 4 quarterbacks kind of playing in. And Coach Iacenda said, I'm confident in all of them. Here's the 1st down play from the 40, the throw over the middle, complete to midfield. Making the catch, Calvin Littles for Canyons. In on the defense for RCC was Marcel Taylor. Taylor with the tackle and a 1st down as the Sticks move up. So Littles moves to the bottom of the screen. Actually, he's in the near slot now, excuse me. Josh Smith to the top of your screen. Here's the play action. Littles with the swing pass. Maybe picks up about 5 yards on the play. Keithan Gooden on the coverage for RCC. 2nd down coming up.
Well, that's the 3rd time they've caught the ball out in the flat, and they've got all 5 yards every single time. Riverside, you got to do something to stop that outside of the game here.
Littles in the far slot, Slade in the near slot. Split out to the bottom of the screen is Joshua Littleberry for Canyons. Far slot, the tight end, Josh Smith. And here comes Smith in motion. Here's the throw to the outside, complete to the 40 for the 1st down. Making the catch is Zion Slade. Tackle on the play for RCC by Arturo Orozco.
Well, they have seen something because they have thrown it to the same spot on both sides of the field.
They're doing what you do with an inexperienced quarterback as the Sticks again move up. The 1st down to the Tigers 39. Bryce Dixon doesn't have a lot of reps. He's a freshman out of Quartz Hill. He's getting the ball out of his hand very quickly as we tick down to the end of the first quarter. Under a minute to play. 5 receivers in the formation. Dixon to throw. He's got time. Now here comes pressure, and now he'll weave up to the 30-yard line, 25, and he'll dive forward to about the 23-yard line. 16-yard pickup on the play.
Boy, that offensive line is doing their job. They're giving him a lot of space and time, but the defense of Riverside, that man-to-man is pretty tight.
The big boys up front, Donovan Reyes, Cole Smith on the left side of the line. The center, Gavin Quiros for Canyons. And the big boys on the outside are Stephen Eakins at the right tackle. And big number 77, Samuel Apalu, the freshman from Alamany, at right guard. And the first quarter ends with a 7-0 Canyons lead, and the Cougars poised just outside the red zone, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, they've done everything they're supposed to do. They're not going for the home run, the quick strike. They're playing methodical football. They're taking care of the clock. They're able to run more plays, and they really have dominated this entire first quarter. If you're Riverside, you got to do something to change this tempo somehow. Deep.
The first quarter ends here at Ramona High School. Tigers come in at 5-0. Canyons comes in 2-2 on the season, but they're looking to make some hay. Remember, these teams potentially could end up meeting again in a playoff. Standings to start today in the National Central: Cerritos, Mount Sac, and RCC all 4-0. And then El Camino and Chaffee and Palomar all following up. Palomar 3-1, El Camino 2-1, Chaffee 1-3. So still a lot of football to be played, both on the field and down the road in terms of over the course of the season. But again, give credit to the offensive line for Canyons. They're a great unit, and they've had to absorb some injuries. They've had to move some guys around. They have some depth up there as well. You give credit to Coach Ayasenda and his staff for their recruiting. A lot of big boys in uniform, just like RCC, for the Cougars. 1st and 10 from the 23. Here's Littles coming in motion. They'll hand the ball off to Sumlin. Sumlin fighting up the middle, and Sumlin powers all the way down to about the 15-yard line. 8-yard pickup on the play.
So a little misdirection and a drag, blocked by the right tackle and guard, and able to get him space there.
So they mark it to the 16. 7-yard pickup, 2nd and 3. Giovanni Masick, the 4th, down to the near slot. Split out to the near side, Joshua Littleberry. 2 receivers to the top of your screen. That's Jenkins and Littles. Now Littles in motion. Here's the throw. Jenkins in and out of his hands. On the coverage there, Gooden for RCC. Gooden had a hand on it, and he wanted to pilfer that one.
I'll tell you what, Jenkins, after missing that ball, he would have been easily in the end zone there. He's going to want that ball back.
So 3rd down coming up. Clock stops with the incomplete pass from the 16-yard line. Split out to the top of the screen, Joshua Littleberry. Jacoby Taylor to the bottom of your screen, trips to the near side. Littles is closest to the formation. Here's the give to Sumlin, and he gets bent back at about the 15-yard line. Orozco had him up top, and had him around down low was PJ Pelupelu.
They're bringing out our guy, the kicker.
So 4th down coming up. It'll be about a 32-yard attempt. And here's Ty Morrison, the sophomore out of Valencia High School. And I already told you, his head coach thinks the world of him. He's 3 of 5 on field goals, as long as been 38. He also punts for the team. Kicking out of the hold of Thule Ken Ulfie. And plenty of distance. And that is good. And it's 10-0 Canyons. So the Cougars standing up here thus far, Jeffrey. They've taken an early 10-0 lead on RCC.
And they look like the better team right now. Coming into this ball game, you say, hey, Riverside will be able to go right through them. But, hey, they've taken care of business as College of the Canyons has owned the Tigers here thus far.
We know how much the special teams can be a factor and can make a difference. And so if you're thinking, and as Ted Ayasenda and his staff are, if you're thinking postseason, you want to make sure everything, all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and Ty Morrison does a lot of that as the combination kicker punter for Canyons. And we talked about Ricardo Chavez. He did a nice interview with Chris King, which I believe they'll post on Monday on the City Riverside website. But that's what Ricardo Chavez is doing for Idaho. He's punting and he's kicking, and he has yet, I don't know what the result is today. I don't want to jinx him, but he has yet to miss a kick.
I think it was 15 of 15 there, we were told.
I think 8 PATs and 7 field goals. Kickoff coming. It's Morrison out there again. From the 6. Espadron up the right side, 30, 35, up over the 40 to the 41-yard line. Joshua Christopher with the tackle for Canyons.
Finally, we're getting something.
So Norian Espadron with the tackle. They'll mark it up to the 43-yard line. So a 37-yard return and good field position for RCC. So Tucker to the bottom of your screen. It's trips to the near side. 5 receivers in the formation. From the 43-yard line, Retzlaff back to throw. Here comes pressure, steps up, throws over the middle. It's complete into Canyon territory. Making the catch, Alfred Jordan. And, he's going to want to make every play possible because he kind of muffed a punt that resulted in a touchdown for Canyons.
He needs redemption. That's the longest play from Riverside from the passing standpoint so far today. We're in the second quarter here.
12-yard pickup to the 45-yard line of Canyons. Right on that painted Ram visage at midfield. 1st and 10 from the 45. Here comes pressure, and down he goes, and the ball's loose. Picking it up and running with it. They're going to whistle it dead. Making the hit for Canyons was James Jeanette. Jeanette, the freshman out of Durham, North Carolina, made the hit, and they're going to call it an incomplete pass, much to the dismay and the protests of the Canyons faithful. But Jeanette with a solid hit, the 6'5 freshman. Played at William and Mary last year. He was a redshirt in 2020. Bounced back to Coach Ted Iasenda's program.
I'll tell you what, though. I think I'm agreeing with the fans here on College of the Canyon side here. That looked like a true fumble. That ball was not going forward. He was pulling back.
So here's the quick out and incomplete. 3rd down coming up. And Retzlaff seems a little rattled. I've never seen him like this. I was going to ask you, can you remember the last time RCC didn't score in the first quarter this year? I don't think they've scored every
They haven't. This is the first time.
Year.
Yeah, this is the worst we've seen Riverside play, I want to say, in at least a year in this first quarter.
So Retzlaff on the far side, in the far slot Espadron. Near side Tucker, near slot Jordan. Retzlaff stepping up, averting the rush, flings it down the field. He's got a man in and out of the hands of Reggie Retzlaff. A flag comes in on the near side, combining on the coverage Quentin Moten and Jeremiah Cox for Canyons. Let's see what the flag's all about.
That's nothing going right. That pass was a catchable pass there by Retzlaff.
So the penalty, though, on the Cougars moves it up to the 35, a 1st down. 1st and 10 from the 35. Shane Smith gives us the explanation. So the drive continues for the Tigers. Tucker to the near side, near slot Espadron. Jordan Williams to the top of the screen. Play action, here's the throw. Complete to Williams. He's down to the 19-yard line. Tackled by Moten. 16-yard pickup, nice strike. Good pitch and catch from Retzlaff to Williams.
Riverside trying to get up in that hurry-up offense.
From the 19-yard line, here's the give to Jones. Jones puts his foot on the turf and spins back to the inside. He'll be close to a 1st down inside the 10. And so the 1st down to the 9-yard line makes it 1st and goal. So the Tigers going back to the run game a little bit. The big guys up front, Brody Shalfie, Kyle Scott, doing some blocking there for RCC. First and goal, call it the 8. Play action, Retzlaff. He'll sling it to Reggie. Reggie to the 5, lunging forward inside the 5 to about the 2-yard line. So about a 6-yard completion. Brian Snoke makes the tackle for Canyons, and second and goal. Second and goal coming up. Retzlaff to the top of your screen. 3 receivers, including Wyatt McClure. Here's Retzlaff with the little comeback route. Jake to Reggie. Touchdown, Tigers.
Well, that's the first time we've seen the real Retzlaffs right there. The little sidearm throw. That arm angle was pretty darn low, able to get it, slid it through.
That makes it 10-7. Or 10-6, excuse me. And then here comes Jacob Marroquin. Also a pretty good kicker for RCC. Marroquin the PAT, and now it's 10-7. So the penalty helped out a little bit, and then there was that close call. Was it a forward pass or was it a fumble? Nick Rice down on the field.
All right, guys, well, over the course of this game, the Canyons coaching staff had implored to not give up any deep passes. And considering the overwhelming passing numbers of the RCC Tigers, it's safe to assume that they were concerned with the deep ball. RCC did a great job on that drive of checking down the underneath throws to beat the defense short en route to the touchdown. It's a chess match between this incredible offense and a defense trying to hang in. We'll see how that chess match plays out over the course of this game. Guys?
Yeah, the defensive coordinators both playing a little bit of chess. That's a good a metaphor used by Nick Rice. Dan Corbett for Canyons and James Cook for RCC. As Marroquin tees it up for the Tigers. Little's back along with Williams for Canyons, and this will go out of the end zone.
I might have a new favorite kicker. He just doesn't play for RCC.
Getting back to Nick's point, though, he brought up a great point. Last year in the win by Canyons over RCC, there was a number of big plays. A 60-yard play, there was a 70-yard play, a couple of 30-yard plays. So you knew James Cook was going to try to minimize that. Now, Canyons has kind of taken what the Tigers have given them, and they've been successful.
They have been. The little five yards passes on flat, and they've really peppered just certain spots to the field. I mean, they must know where RCC's defenses are soft.
So both defenses employing very similar strategies, trying to just stem down the big play. And Dixon doing a good job. He hands the ball off. Morrison trying to get outside, trying to cut back. Finally, he'll go down at the 24-yard line. Gage Summers finishes it off, but Orozco had his nose around the football, as did Keithan Gooden. Second down coming up. Keithan Gooden out of Calabasas probably knows a bunch of the guys on the Canyons team. But how about Dixon? You know, Chaden Perry had started most of the games. He was a Georgia Tech bounce back, but last couple of games, all 4 quarterbacks have gotten in for head coach Ted Iacenda. Here's the give. Breaking one tackle up the 30, a first down, up to the 36 and over the 40-yard line before he's finally brought down by Marcel Taylor. Carrying the ball was Jordan Anderson. Anderson, the sophomore, out of Golden Valley High in the Santa Clarita area. And the Sticks move up, a 19-yard pickup on the play.
Yeah, those 19 yards should have been about 4, but a missed tackle, which is pretty rare from these RCC teams. That defense has been stellar so far in the first part of the season. They've given up quite a few tackles here today.
So Calvin Little's in the far slot. Flexed out to the near side is Jacoby Taylor. Here's the give to Anderson, and Anderson gets over the 45 to about the 46. 4 more yards on the play. Hit by Isaac Garcia for RCC, and a flag comes in. Sixth penalty assessed on Canyons They've already given up 45 penalty yards. It'll move it back 10 yards.
Fans here not happy with the
But they never are.
calls. No.
When you tell me the next time fans are happy with the officials, it'll be the first time. It'll be the first time. I don't care if they're with you or for you. First down from the 34. They need to get up to the 48-yard line of RCC, so it's a 1st and 18. Here's the throw by Dixon to the outside to Littles. Incomplete. DeMarco Moore on the coverage. 2nd and 18 coming up.
And Gazal, there's that same spot. They've been so successful all game long. You know, maybe if the referees, and I mean this, maybe if they change their uniform, I think the horizontal or the vertical stripes make them look like prisoners. Maybe that's why everybody doesn't like them. Maybe they should go get somebody to come in and design a better uni.
Could be. Pastels, maybe?
Maybe a pastel.
Put up a call into Phil Knight up at Nike. He can say,
Hey,
designs
look,
nothing but uniform.
Can we do something nice to make them look a little
2nd and 18. Here's the give, and down he goes. Anderson slips down. Bearing in on him, it looks like Alex Silva Navarro, so we'll give him credit for the tackle. 3rd, they'll lose a couple. They'll give him the line of scrimmage, so back to a 3rd and 18. Littleberry split out to the top of your screen. Taylor to the bottom of your screen. Near slot is Littles. Big 3rd down play coming up for this RCC defense. Let's see what James Cook has drawn up. Dixon looking back to the sideline. Long look back. Anderson resets. 3rd down. Play action, looking to throw. Now here comes pressure. Orozco there, but there is the general, Talib Salahuddin. He escaped him once. It won't happen again.
No, he is like Batman. Comes out of the shadows.
I like that better. I call him the general, but Batman's better.
He's Batman.
The Batman. Now, on the play, Dixon did end up getting a 2-yard gain, so 4th down and 16, not a sack. It'll be a 2-yard run, and here comes Morrison to kick it away. So Espadron is deep. He'll call for the fair catch and catch it at the 10-yard line. How about that? What a booming punt that was. 56 yards, and it flips the field big time. Call it 55. It'll go down to the 11-yard line, and that's where RCC will start it. So they get the touchdown, and the defense stands up, Jeffrey.
About time. We as RCC fans came to see them score, and that stellar defense. If you put them in a yellow shirt, like a soccer ref.
Well, soccer refs get it bad, too.
They do. Yeah, they get it the worst. They kill those guys in overseas.
Yeah, it's very dangerous, very hazardous.
Powder blue. Powder blue, that's a pleasing color.
You're saying that because Ramona colors.
Maybe, but it's a pleasing.
It is pleasing. It is pleasing.
Are you angry if you look at the sky? Are you angry if you look at this beautiful blue field?
I go to the ocean every day. You're right. You can't be angry.
You can't be angry at blue. You can feel blue, but, you can't be angry at it.
So 3rd penalty assessed on the Tigers was a hold on the fair catch. They'll move back to the 6-yard line. So RCC now 94 yards to go. Under 8 minutes to play here in the second quarter. They trail 12-7. Retzlaff with the give. Dancing, skittering up the middle is Jones, dragging a tackler with him. He'll lunge forward to about the 11. A 5-yard pickup on 1st down for Jacquez Jones. 2nd and 5.
They gave him a little room now. We might be able to see those playmakers on the outside make a play here.
Lacey in motion. Jones again running left. And maybe a yard on the play. Nice job on the left side of that line by Canyons. Closing the gap. Making the tackle was Samaj Williams out of Cathedral. He actually played at RCC last year. 3rd down.
Why would you leave RCC, of course?
I mean, he's an LA guy. Maybe he wanted to be closer to home. I don't know. You never know.
Maybe he likes Magic Mountain.
So Jones and Strong in the backfield. Getchaway split out to the near side. 2 receivers to the top of the formation. Here comes pressure. Here's the throw. This is Jones. 1st down at the 20 and more. Up to the 35, over to the 40, to the 45-yard line. And Williams, his old teammate, brings him down. 27 tackles, 27 at the 45-yard line. 32-yard pickup.
RCC now starting to get a little bit of rhythm going here.
Now, RCC kind of doing what Canyons did in the first quarter, looking to check down. We've seen the man-to-man coverage on the outside has been very good for the Cougars, Jeff.
Yes, it has. Riverside kind of went to a zone. They were doubling on the receivers. That has changed the dynamic of the game for RCC's defense, I believe.
Lacey in motion. Here's the play action. Retzlaff looking for it all. Down the field looking for Williams, incomplete. One-on-one coverage down the field with Josh Doyle. Jordan Williams, the intended receiver, 2nd and 10 coming up. What do they say, Jeff? You got to shoot your shot, right?
Got to give it your shot. That's what they said in Hamilton.
No, in Hamilton is I'm not going to give up my shot, isn't it?
I think so. I don't know.
Your kids like Hamilton, don't they?
My whole family, they're all. When that came out on Disney Plus, all my kids were all singing it. My wife was singing it. I know a lot about history, though.
2nd and 10. Throw over the middle. Complete. That's Rashawn Lacey has the first down to the 43-yard line. 12-yard pickup on the play. Nice play by Rashawn Lacey. Little run after catch. Under 6 minutes to play here in the second quarter, 10-7. Canyons on top, and now the Tigers driving for a potential go-ahead score. Offense seems to have woken up a little bit of an adjustment. Gitchaway split out to the near side. Here's the give instead to Jones. Jones goes down at the 42-yard line. Hit at the end of the play by David Francis Jr. Francis, speaking of the Civil War, Jeff, out of Van Nuys Ulysses S. Grant High School.
Hey!
Whenever I hear Ulysses S. Grant, I think of the Cream song, Tales of Brave Ulysses. It's very psychedelic.
That's a good song.
You think Ulysses S. Grant ever sampled in the psychedelics?
He might have.
Were there psychedelics in 1865?
There's been psychedelics forever, my friend.
2nd and 9. And you're a credible source on that, Jeff. I trust you implicitly on that answer.
Ayahuasca.
3rd and 9. Here's the throw. Looking over the middle, Gitchaway, the intended receiver. Check that, 2nd and 9. Now it's 3rd and 9.
I'm like, what's that guy's? Rogers.
You're the shaman.
I'm the shaman.
Yeah.
I drink.
You're the Sherpa and the shaman. You're big enough to be a Sherpa and a shaman together.
Together.
That's what you should do when you retire. Move to Brazil. Bring Carla and the kids, and you could be a shaman.
Or I can go to Tibet. I have all
Actually,
this.
you could be a shaman in Menifee. You could be the first. There are plenty of shamans in Tibet.
Oh.
They don't have any in Menifee.
I can make a ayahuasca tent. I drink it by like a gallon, like a big gulp.
Empty set on 3rd and 9. Here comes the pressure from Snow. Complete to Espadron, but he's going to be short of the first down. Nice tackle on the play. Justin Horton on the coverage. Horton, the sophomore of Sherman Oaks, dealing with some injuries. Started the opener, have been missed a couple of games, but they like him in the defense. Does his head coach Ted Iacenda and the defensive coordinator Dan Corbett. So 4th down coming up, and the offense staying out there.
And I like what Coach Kraft is doing. He said, "Hey, you guys got to earn this one, guys. Go out and do it yourself."
Retzlaff to the far side, far slot Espadron, near slot Lacey, near side Gitchaway. 4 receivers in the formation. Retzlaff to throw. Here comes pressure. Can he run for it? Sidearm delivery. He had Lacey incomplete. On the coverage was Quentin Moten. Ball over on downs to the Cougars, and a big stand by Dan Corbett's defense.
Dan Corbett's defense has really got Retzlaff. I mean, he was in the pocket, pushes him out, and that defense has been great. Man-to-man coverage on the receivers.
And I haven't watched it specifically. They have done the best job that I've seen this year in terms of getting pressure on Retzlaff.
Yes, they have. Those big boys up front have kept Retzlaff harm-free and able to throw the football. But he is definitely out of his rhythm.
Now keep in mind, Canyons gets the ball. No, RCC gets the ball, right? Start
Yes.
second half. So, yeah. There's a big drive either way. Big drive for Canyons. Bryce Dixon, welcome to the show. Here's the give to Anderson trying to get outside. He gets a little further. He's still dragging and driving down to the 45-yard line. He'll be close to a first down, about 8 yards on the play. for Anderson. They've kind of found their answer. They had a couple of different running backs. We saw Ja'Kai Torres. We saw J.D. Sumlin. But Jordan Anderson looks like he's the solution thus far for head coach Teddy Ayasenda.
Well, and they, like we said, they're not going for the home run balls.
No.
They're playing smart football, taking care of the ball. They haven't, not turning it over.
I remember Al Davis talking about, I don't want to be an offense that takes what they give you. I want to take what we want. But Ted Ayasenda actually is kind of taking what the defense has given him. He's getting little blocks and little chunks here and there.
And you don't give RCC the time on offense to score.
So 2nd and 2 coming up. Clock ticking down to 3 minutes to play. The co-offensive coordinators for Canyons are David Banks and Seth Osaransky. Here's the throw to the outside, complete to midfield to Littles. But right there, spinning him down, is Lovewin Don Willies. Showing the love is Lovewin Don Willies.
It looked like they wanted a horse collar tackle. Did you see that? But now he grabbed him by the shoulders. It's a good no call.
5-yard gain up to midfield. Sticks move up for Canyons. First and 10 from midfield. Do they take a shot here? This is a good place on the field to take a shot, Jeff. 4 receivers in the formation. Our first look at Malik Brooks to the bottom of your screen. He's out of Vegas. Dixon looking to throw. He's got time. He'll look down the field, and it's picked off. DeMarco Moorer, Johnny on the spot. He stepped right in front of Malik Brooks.
Well, we thought they would take a shot. They did. I think they need to stick with the short passes.
Well, I thought down the field over the top is where they take their shot, but Moorer, with his 5th pick already on the year, to be fair, he got 3 of them in one game, and it's Tigers football.
Yeah, never throw it more. He is the quickest guy on the field and just has a sense of exactly where the football is going to go.
Out of Arcadia High School. Now, was Arcadia named after that Duran Duran supergroup? Remember, there was the Power Station,
Power Station,
and then there was
Arcadia,
which was kind of a supergroup involving Duran Duran. I forget the other band.
Yeah, it wasn't the Taylor Brothers. It was because the Taylor Brothers were part of the Power Station.
1st and 10 after the turnover. The Cougars converted the one Tigers turnover into a touchdown. What can RCC do? And the ball's on the turf, and the Cougars say they have it back.
Yes, they do.
And they do. Robert Valentine couldn't find the handle on it, but the Cougars grabbed it. So 2:09 to play. Good field position for Canyons. It all worked out in the end for the Cougars. Can the defense stand up now for the Tigers? This has been a great back and forth, Jeff. This is like Duran Leonard, Once you think one guy has got it, the other guy steps up.
The hands of stone.
Joshua Littleberry to the top of your screen. Littles to the far slot. Split out to the bottom of the screen is the aforementioned Malik Brooks. Fake to Anderson. Running is Dixon. He goes down. Arturo Orozco very politely escorted him to the turf. No ill intent there. He just kind of dragged him down. Orozco was the first man there. Clock continues to move. Under 2 minutes to play here in the first half. 2nd and 11 for Canyons. Brooks to the near side. And then Josh Smith, the tight end, in the far slot. Split out to the far side, Joshua Littleberry for Canyons. Near slot is Littles. Anderson up the middle. Anderson finds some space, squeezes ahead. He'll be very close to a first down. Stopped at the 21-yard line. Call it a 9-yard pickup, 3rd and 2 as the clock moves. So here's some clock management for Canyons.
And they've been doing this all game. It has been, it's been methodical, it's been smart, and it's really taken Riverside out of their game for sure.
Littleberry to the far side, Brooks to the near side. In the near slot for Canyons is Calvin Littles. First down is to the 19. Under a minute to play. Dixon to throw. Steps up. Here's pressure. Spins out of pressure, but he can't. Bringing him down, Alonzo Gray Hall, the sophomore out of Sylmar. Kenton Allen will also had his head around the football. And fourth down coming up.
Yeah, huge play defensively there.
And I'm guessing the field goal team will come out. They'll run the clock down, call timeout, and bring out the field goal team. We were told Ty Morrison, his range was back to 60 yards. This would be about a 43-yard kick. And he's just standing right next to the official is Ted Iacenda. They're going to call timeout with under 5 seconds to play. So now they have a decision to make. I would guess you bring on Morrison, right? They'll give him a 6-point lead.
You got to get the points. We always talk about that. If you can't leave them on leave the points on the field, you've got to get them.
This is not a Ziggy off situation. They already have a lead, but it'll give them 3 more points. So RCC gets the ball. To start the second half, so you want to get points. So he's heard. I don't know if you heard the official, but the plan was that the play clock was off. So Canyon's intention was to call the timeout with 1 second left. Now it'll be 1 second on the clock, and a 44-yard field goal attempt coming up. Tuni Ikahifo will hold it for the place kicker, Ty Morrison. 43-yarder coming up. Will it make it? Doinks off the far upright. And there's a flag on the play, so let's sort all that out. Now there's no time left. So let's see how that plays.
If the penalty's against Riverside, they get another shot.
On-time play. You are correct. You are correct. So he'll get another field goal attempt, huh? So Alonzo Gray Hall, he was the one that stuffed the third down play.
Yes.
And now he giveth back because the field goal was missed. Now they'll try another one from 15 yards closer. So half the distance. And now it'll be a 32-yard field goal. So 32-yard attempt coming up. A reprieve for Ty Morrison.
I wonder if the personal foul, they're telling him something.
Yeah, they marked it off because I think it was a 43-yard attempt. That would mean it was from the 26. They would need to bring it to the 13-yard line.
Yes.
This is only to the 16. All right. Order seems to be restored. Field goal coming up. 34-yard kick. This is good. So a mistake by RCC results in points for the Canyons Cougars. So a fumble and a penalty have directly led to 10 Cougar points. Canyons goes to the locker room with a 13-7 score. And I'll tell you what, you tip your cap to the Cougars defense. This RCC offense, Jeff, has been running full throttle, and they've really slowed them down.
Well, they have. There hasn't been any long balls. Riverside has notoriously, they've got 500 yards and a half. They've been held to virtually nil to what they've done in the past. This is a great defensive effort by College of the Canyons, and mistakes have cost Riverside.
So Nick Rice will have Ted Iacenda, the head coach for Canyons, as we go to the half. Oh, no, maybe he's going to have him coming out or going in? Coming out, he'll have him going out. Oh, no, he's going to try to grab him going in. So Ted Iacenda, who formerly played at USC in New Mexico. You know who his roommate was at USC?
You told me, and I was very excited about it.
He was radio host Petros Papadakis.
He's a loud guy.
So I said, Coach. All right, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
Joined by head coach Ted Iacenda. 10-7 lead. What are your thoughts of your guys at the half?
Well, obviously, I'm proud of these guys. You know, we had a rough 2 weeks, and, I think any other team could have come out here against the number one team in the state and just kind of laid down. But this is a testament to this group's character. You know, they came out here ready to play good football and ready to fight, and we played a pretty good half. But obviously, we know there's another half coming against a dynamic football team, so we definitely have our work cut out for us.
RCC, what makes them the number one team in the state is that passing game. To hold them to one scoring drive has to feel very encouraging.
Oh, well, there's no question. Obviously, they had a couple miscues, but I expect them to come out firing in the second half. That's very uncharacteristic of them and a Coach Kraft-led offense. We're going to be expecting a fireworks show in the second half.
Coach, best of luck in the second half.
Thank you guys very much.
All right, guys, back to you.
So, finishing up the story, great job, Nick, by the way. Finishing up the story, he said, I was asking him about what's it like. He was Petros' roommate, you know. And he said, the one thing I'll tell you, there's a lot I can't tell you, but he said, the one thing I tell you is that guy that's who he really is. You know, he's like, I've known the guy since I'm 18, 19 years old. That's who that guy really is. And a lot of people give him grief for, you know, his personality or whatnot. He's too loud, he's too this. That's who that guy was, and he gave him a lot of credit. He said he was a fun roommate and a good guy to hang out with.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, if you listen to him, I bet they ate very well, too. I'm sure Petros' dad fed,
John Papadakis
fed him well.
But he did say this, and we'll get a kick back to the studio, but he did say that, hey, he always supports me. Like, he'll mention me on the show. If we're playing the game, he'll pump me up, and he actually pumped him up before this week. So it was great to have him talk so well about his old roommate. It's 13-7 right now. Canyon's on top of RCC for the Tigers. They got to go back to the drawing board here at the half. A very impressive first half by both defenses, but Canyon's obviously has the lead. It was two mistakes, though, by the Tigers. It was the fumble on the punt return and the penalty after the missed field goal have resulted directly in 10 points for the Cougars. That's the difference in the game right now. So for Jeff and for Nick Rice right now, we'll send it back to our studios at Riverside TV. 13-7, the Canyons Cougars lead the RCC Tigers on homecoming here at halftime from Ramona High School.
California leads the nation in railroad trespass-related fatalities. In 2021, there were 243 trespass casualties in California. Trespassing is one of the most challenging safety issues plaguing California's railroad corridors. In Riverside County alone, there were 19 trespass-related casualties last year. But the positive news is those numbers have dropped over the years because of the efforts of California Operation Lifesaver and partnering agencies like RCTC and Metrolink. We can all help reduce trespass-related incidents even further if we never trespass on railroad property for any reason. That means no biking or walking near tracks. Railroad property is private property. The only safe place to cross train tracks is at a designated crossing. September is Rail Safety Month. So please do your part. And whenever you see tracks, always think train. And stay off, stay away, stay safe. California leads the nation in railroad trespass-related fatalities. In 2021, there were 243 trespass casualties in California. Trespassing is one of the most challenging safety issues plaguing California's railroad corridors. In Riverside County alone, there were 19 trespass-related casualties last year. But the positive news is those numbers have dropped over the years because of the efforts of California Operation Lifesaver and partnering agencies like RCTC and Metrolink. We can all help reduce trespass-related incidents even further if we never trespass on railroad property for any reason. That means no biking or walking near tracks. Railroad property is private property. The only safe place to cross train tracks is at a designated crossing. September is Rail Safety Month. So please do your part. And whenever you see tracks, always think train. And stay off, stay away, stay safe. California leads the nation in railroad trespass-related fatalities. In 2021, there were 243 trespass casualties in California. Trespassing is one of the most challenging safety issues plaguing California's railroad corridors. In Riverside County alone, there were 19 trespass-related casualties last year. But the positive news is those numbers have dropped over the years because of the efforts of California Operation Lifesaver and partnering agencies like RCTC and Metrolink. We can all help reduce trespass-related incidents even further if we never trespass on railroad property for any reason. That means no biking or walking near tracks. Railroad property is private property. The only safe place to cross train tracks is at a designated crossing. September is Rail Safety Month. So please do your part. And whenever you see tracks, always think train. And stay off, stay away, stay safe.
I'm Cheech Marin, and we're inviting you to reserve your spot for the inaugural showing of Cheech Collects. So get your tickets today. We're looking for you.
Live local. Help support your favorite businesses with the Shop Riverside Community Card. With over 200 Riverside businesses giving exclusive discounts and offers to community card holders, there's something for everyone. Participating organizations sell these cards for only $15 each, with $10 going straight back to the organization itself, making the Shop Riverside Community Card a fantastic way to support your favorite local group. For more information about the Shop Riverside Community Card and to find participating businesses, please visit shopriversidenow.com. And don't forget to live local. Shop Riverside.
High school sports are one of the things that make living in California so great.
But sometimes the behavior in the stands can overshadow our achievements on the field.
I love it when my parents show up for me.
But being booed for missing a play could be crushing.
And remember that refs are people too.
They're trying their best to call a fair and correct game.
Hey, and enough with all the swearing.
No one should feel insulted or ashamed
because of their race, ethnicity, or gender.
We should be able to hold our heads high after the match, win or lose.
Well, it all started basically with my son, Joshua Unger. He's severely autistic. He was aging out of the school district, and this was about when he was around 18, but the school district keeps you till you're 22. We're sitting at home one day and we're talking about, well, what are we going to do once he actually is out of the school district? And we thought about it really hard, and at that time we were doing some backyard gardening. And my son was very responsive to it. He enjoyed going out and planting the seeds and being in the soil and, harvesting the lettuce and going and, getting the carrots and the onions, and, he likes to cook too. And we thought, well, hey, what if we actually had some property to where we could have like a small farm that sells vegetables, and we can make a program where we can bring in others, a work program for people with these different disabilities. Ultimately, what we decided to do was just start looking in the Inland Empire area for a piece of property that would work for that. And, we found the Greenbelt. We try to implement as much organic material in the soil as possible. We're not using any pesticides or herbicides. We, have barn owl boxes. We have little birds' nests that we're planting so that they'll eat some of the bugs, and we also encourage predator bugs, like ladybugs. Our operation is at that point where we're turning a corner. With the high tunnels going up, we're going to be planting tomatoes in there. There's a lot of little things to maintain with tomatoes. We're kind of transitioning from a point where we were just focused on this small little corner of the property, kind of educating me. And then now that we have some systems in place that I feel are successful, we're going to expand that across the center part of the farm here, and we're going to be putting in a little farm stand that we can sell some of these vegetables with, and that will provide additional tasks for the workers with disabilities to fulfill. One of the ways that we reach out to people is on Facebook, and it's Gable Farms. Just Gable Farms, and you can search it in Riverside. And that's an easy way to find us.
My daughter had an issue at school where another student on her campus, specifically in her class, said some derogatory things about people of color, specifically black people. Although Riverside is a great place to live, it has shadows and it has corners where hate lives. As a result of that, my daughter was hurt that day, and we needed to put a voice to it. A friend of mine she reached out to me and she said, Rochelle, I can't sit by and know that this happened to Edison and not do something.
We had a conversation about the racism that her daughter Edison had experienced at her school and how that felt to her. We felt like we needed to do something and to say something. And so we talked about the representation of Black figures in Riverside and how there was a lack of representation. We talked about inclusion and respect and what that looked like. And we talked about creating an art piece.
It was after the murals that we had up on the Fox Performing Arts Center, as well as the John Lewis mural at the Civil Rights Institute. And so when this concept came to us at the City of Riverside, it felt a way that we could support our artist community, because we are the City of Arts and Innovation, but it was also in an easy, beautiful way, a statement that we promote, we respect, and we want diversity, equity, and inclusion in all things we do.
I myself am a mosaic artist, and so I talked to Rochelle about the possibility of us creating an art piece, and she loved that idea. And soon Shay Tracy, who is also an educator, so we are three teachers. We started out on this endeavor to create this piece together and enlisted 14 artists to create the piece that you see here today.
As at that time, there was so much happening in the culture, in the world, surrounding Black Lives Matter, and some of the protests in terms of the police brutality that was happening, that I just felt I needed to do something as a model to boys. Each individual person, they worked on their own sketch of the artist, and they put the tiles together at their own home studio, and then towards the end, we collected the materials in waves, and then we kind of just put it all together a few weeks before the reveal. I want them to feel the love and intentionality that we put into the mural. I want it to awaken a curiosity about all of the people who we included in the mural, and to just get people to understand and to have more interest in Black history and in these contributing members.
As the City of Arts and Innovation, this was a really beautiful step towards including art pieces that are public and that are representative of everyone.
For the community, I hope that it shows that in being authentic and real and transparent and sharing our stories, great things can come out of it.
Welcome to In the Vault, a program of the Museum of Riverside. Today I'm going to share a little bit about the museum's herbarium, which is a collection of plant specimens, and a herbarium can be either dry or wet specimens, but mostly dry specimens, and that's what we have quite a bit of. It began with the early curator of botanic collections, Edmund Yeager, who started collecting specimens in the Riverside and San Bernardino area in the 1920s. Many of these specimens that he collected eventually wound up in our collection. But the real turning point was in 1949 when Charles and Wilhelmina Clark donated their collection, the Clark Herbarium, along with an endowment for the care of the collection and for botanical programs. And we've pulled out today just a couple of specimens, just a few specimens from the Clark Herbarium that are examples of Nevins barberry, which is an endangered species in our area, and you actually can acquire cultivated specimens of this plant from nurseries, but in the few areas where it grows naturally, it's under threat and has been added to the endangered species list. Now, this is how dried herbarium specimens are stored and collected. A herbarium specimen is of little use to us unless it comes with its collection data. So all this information is here. collected on a certain date in a certain location by a certain collector. And then the specimens are dried under certain conditions so that they don't attract mold, mildew, or other forces that can disintegrate them. Because they're dried, of course, they're very fragile, and we have to keep them in short stacks in carefully controlled environmental conditions. And you might wonder why we would have more than one example of the same species. And there's a reason for that, several reasons actually. First of all, comparing different examples of the same species can give information to researchers. And comparing specimens that have been collected over time can give researchers information about changing environmental conditions. And in the context of much research that's done today, for instance, climate change, we can learn much about how and where specimens were collected and what has happened to their morphology over time. It's also useful to have different specimen examples for genetic research, which is done today. Again, it was something that was, at the time these things were collected, no one even conceived of the kind of genetic research that would be done today. And now we have some of these specimens, which of course, because they're in essence insect food, we have to keep very close watch on them to make sure no infestations get into our storage vault here. These cabinets behind me are the cabinets where we store the herbarium specimens, and they have to be inspected often to make sure that we have no problems. To go back to the Clark Herbarium, that portion of the Museum of Riverside's herbarium comprises about 10,000 specimens. Additional collectors, other collectors, John C. Roos, for instance, actually this one was collected by John C. Roos, have added to the herbarium and make it a reference point with almost a century's trajectory that allows it to be a tremendous resource for researchers who are interested in Southern California, particularly the inland Southern California plant community. We have a new incoming lot of specimens coming into the herbarium soon. We do continue to actively collect, and again, for some of those scientific reasons that might not necessarily have been anticipated at the time that earlier examples of some of the species were collected. So for instance, a researcher has recently gone out to some of the areas in Central and Southern California that are fire damaged and collecting plant specimens that are coming back after those fires so that we can study the kind of plant communities that thrive in those post-fire environments. Again, we cannot possibly imagine what kind of research may be done in the future that would make these specimens of great use to a scientist. And I should add as well, as my background is the fine arts, that there's a resurgence of interest among artists in looking at these kinds of collections and just seeing the visual beauty of them and seeing how the visual impact of a specimen can be translated into an aesthetic experience and to help connect people with nature in a way that is very vital right now. So again, thank you for joining us for this segment of In the Vault, and we do encourage you, particularly if you're a researcher, to contact us and arrange to have access to the herbarium collection. Thank you.
High school sports are one of the things that make living in California so great.
Athletics builds character, teamwork, physical fitness,
And shows what hard work can achieve.
And some of us can even earn a college scholarship or qualify for the Olympics.
But sometimes the behavior in the stands can overshadow our achievements on the field.
I love it when my parents show up for me.
But being booed for missing a play can be crushing.
Parents who lose their minds when we don't score aren't helping.
It can actually be super distracting. We should be able to hold our heads high after the match, win or lose.
And remember that refs are people too.
They're trying their best to call a fair and correct game.
Even if you may not love the call.
Seeing and hearing people, belligerently be mean to you, it makes you not want to play anymore. It makes you just want to go sit on the sidelines and cry. Like, it's not fun.
No one should feel insulted or ashamed
because of their race, ethnicity, or gender.
Hey, and enough with all the swearing.
Anger has no place here.
Thank you for being part of the change, and thank you for being there to lift us up.
Welcome back, Ramona High School. Gazelle Hassan back with you along with Jeff Gorham. Nick Rice is down along the sideline. Also, our entire award-winning Riverside TV crew with you today as we bring you RCC football against College of Canyons. And I know, Jeff, you're a big fan of the Rocky movies. At the end of Rocky 1, Apollo Creed, played by the great Carl Weathers, said, "Ain't gonna be no rematch. Ain't gonna be no rematch." To which Stallone, playing Rocky Balboa, replies, "Don't want one. Don't want one." Well, tell you what, both these teams seemingly wanted a rematch. Obviously, Canyons wanted one last year after the Tigers dispatched them in the 2019 Southern California Championship 61-28. Canyons got their revenge, a measure of it last year, 41-24 at their place. And now, 13-7 in the first half. What a fantastic job they've done, Dan Corbett's defense has done against RCC. I'm going to throw some numbers at you, Jeff. The Tigers came in averaging 620 yards a game on offense, approximately 180 on the ground, and 440 through the air per game. On a per-game basis, nearly 50 points. In the first half tonight, 130 total yards, 30 on the ground, 100 through the air, and a couple of turnovers. That is a big pat on the back for the Canyons defense.
Well, and you got to look at Canyons. Canyons is coming off of 2 losses in a row, and they came in highly ranked. And they don't want to give it up. And I'll tell you what, they have worked hard, obviously, in practice and scouted this RCC team, and they've just been magnificent in that first half. Did everything they were supposed to do, except for that last interception. Pretty much mistake-free football.
Canyons gets the ball to start the second half. Littles back deep, along with Anderson, Jordan Anderson, and Calvin Littles. In the middle as well, Coy Mortensen set up to return as Mariquin will kick it off. So a 13-7 lead for Canyons, a big drive to start the second half here, Jeff.
Let's see now if Riverside has to do something offensively. We've seen them averaging 49 points a game to only have 7. I don't think we've ever seen that.
Well, not this year for sure. Not over the first couple of games we've done. As Mariquin with the approach, he'll boom it into the end zone. Now, it should be pointed out, though, that of the 13 points for Canyons, 10 came directly as a result of RCC mistakes. Alfred Jordan muffed a punt, recovered by Joshua Christopher inside the 10-yard line. That resulted in the first touchdown, the Anthony Spearman run at 3:46 of the first quarter to make it 7-0. And then at the end of the first half, Ty Morrison had missed a field goal. He doinked it off the left post. Personal foul on the Tigers. Gave him a second chance, and he hit it to make it 13-7. So from the 25, it's 1st and 10. First start of his career at the JC level for Bryce Dixon. Here's the handoff to Anderson running outside, and there's Isaac Garcia pulling him down by the ankles, a loss of a couple of yards. Let's get an injury update from Nick the Kid Rice.
All right, well, Canyons has had a fantastic defensive performance, so it'll be interesting to see how they fare in the second half. When Canyons gets back on defense, they'll be without one of their star linebackers, Colt Bullock. He has bruised ribs, and his status for the game is doubtful, so it'll be interesting to see how they work without him. Guys, back to you.
Good tidbit. Bullock is a solid part of the defense. Why Nick's telling us that when they're on offense, I'm not quite sure. Here's the throw, and nearly taken away, in and out of the hands a little, and it was nearly taken away defensively by Bryce Tate. Bryce Tate was right there for RCC. Third down coming up. So an official timeout on the play. Chaden Perry checks in at QB, the freshman out of Sierra Canyon. He's a Georgia Tech bounce back. Coach Iasenda said he's the one of all the QBs, he's probably the one that understands the offense the best. and he had been the starter for most of the year. Perry to throw. Swings it to the outside to Smith. Smith, the tight end, swerves up to the 25-yard line, tackled around the ankles from Orozco as he lunges forward over the 26-yard line.
Well, that's what they did really well in that first half. Is they got players in open space, and that's how they've been able to chink away at 5, 6, 7 yards.
Morrison to punt. Line of scrimmage is the 27. Back deep to receive Espadron for RCC. Here's the kick. He'll catch it at the 28-yard line. Spin around, break one tackle, breaks another tackle, spins forward to the 40-yard line. Taken down there, making the tackle is Jacob Montez, the freshman out of Hart High School in Santa Clarita. So at a 14-yard return on the pickup, a 42-yard kick, and it's 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line for RCC.
Well, let's see if RCC made some adjustments offensively here. Let's see what they saw in that pretty darn solid defense from the Cougars.
Norbert Espadron on that return. And now the Tigers tee it up. Let's see what adjustments have been made. Jawan Tucker to the near side. Retzlaff to the top of your screen. Here's the handoff. And down he goes right at the line of scrimmage. Runs right into the awaiting arms of Jackson Volk. Volk, the 6'5", 250-pound freshman out of 1,000 Oaks. Bryce Strong on the carry. And we mentioned it earlier, 30 yards rushing total in the first half. Now, to be fair, only 69 yards on the other side for Canyons as well. Second and 10, Retzlaff throwing, sidearm delivery, caught by Jordan. Jordan 40, 35, 30, and tackled down inside the 30-yard line. Making the tackle on the play, Quentin Moten, the sophomore from Rancho Cucamonga.
And watch this pass, Gonzalez. See that little sidearm throw.
So they mark it down to the 25-yard line, 35-yard pickup on the play. Nice job there by Jordan.
And that ball was nearly picked off, but he slung it right through there. Patrick Mahomes-esque.
Here's Strong, breaks one tackle, and the other two will not be so lucky. James Jeanette charges in for Canyons along with Isai Martinez.
I've been impressed with Canyons. They've been able to get past that very good offensive line by RCC.
They have their guys, their middle, obviously their two inside guys are big guys, but their outside guys on the defensive line aren't very big, but they play much bigger, and they're really fast. 2nd and 12 after the loss. Here's a throw to the outside, nearly picked off. Jawan Tucker almost had to become a defensive back. Almost intercepted by Samaj Williams, the sophomore from L.A., the former RCC Tiger.
Yeah, that was, that was easily should have been picked off, but the progressions from Retzlaff, he's not having a whole lot of time. He is running for his dear life.
Well, we talked about that in the first half. This is the team, I think, that we've seen that has done the best job in terms of pressuring Jake Retzlaff.
Yeah, they've got to him, and you can tell the rhythm is off.
It's funny. They're not doing a lot of fancy stuff to pressure him. They're not designing a bunch of exotic blitzes. It's a lot of matchup stuff, a lot of personnel shuffling. So a timeout called. Canyons was trying to run somebody out on the field. I believe the player trying to get on was Adam Clausen. He's the freshman out of Krustad, Sweden.
They play football in Sweden?
They do. They have a lot of European guys on the Canyons team. We saw last year, I think Golden West had a couple of European guys.
And remember, Aquinas used to have the big Germans.
That's right. Brandon Rankins.
Yeah.
So timeout, I guess that timeout was assessed to RCC. So RCC called timeout there on the 3rd and 12 play from the 27-yard line. They trail here 13-7. An impressive defensive effort by both clubs in the first half, and especially by Canyons. But their outside ends, Francis and Jeanette, probably project more as linebackers to the next level, Jeff, meaning Canyons. 3rd and 12. Here's Strong in motion. Retzlaff to throw. Steps up in the pocket. Dumps it off to Espadron. Complete, and he'll kind of saunter out of bounds the 10-yard line for the first down. So move the sticks up. 17-yard completion. So they'll say 11. So they can still get a first down at the 1. Espadron at the end, I mean, he was moving fast, but he was gliding towards the end of that run. Strong trying the middle, and he'll go down. Snoke with the tackle, just inside the 10, maybe a yard and a half on that play. Second down and 8 coming up. Clock moving. So Norbert Espadron in the far slot, Retzlaff to the far side, near side Jawan Tucker. And now Alfred Jordan comes in. So trips to the top of your screen, that's Jordan, Espadron, and Retzlaff. Second down, here's the throw. Touchdown! Jawan Tucker in the corner of the end zone for RCC, and the Tigers take the lead.
Yeah, Jawan Tucker was just there standing all by himself. Nobody's seeing him there. Looked like he walked in off the field.
So we're tied at 13 pending Mariquin's PAT attempt. And Jacob gives the Tigers a 14-13 lead with 10:31 to play here in the third quarter.
Now that you can feel a little bit more relief, but considering you're averaging 49 points a game with only 14, and we're in the third quarter, they're going to have to do something offensively.
Canyon's defense has been pretty good. They they allow 20 points per game and 256 yards, 91 rushing yards, 165 passing yards, but their bellywick as they take it away. They have 8 picks and 2 fumble recoveries on the year. They also get pressure. Last year they got a lot of pressure on other teams. Not so much this year, just 3 sacks this year. But you've seen today, they've been really good at getting pressure on Retzlaff, Jeff.
Well, they have, and the thing is they are funneling him to the middle of the field. He has to go up the middle, and then the secondary's right there. Retzlaff having all kinds of issues trying to get rid of the football today.
Talking about the RCC defense, James Cook, his 9th year as defensive coordinator, 20 points allowed per game, just under 300 yards, 291.8 yards, 73 rushing, 218 passing. They've recorded 13 sacks and 10 takeaways on the year as Mariquin kicks it off. And the touchback will come out for Canyons here in the third quarter. 10:31 to play, 14-13, RCC in the lead. The Tigers in the September 27th in both polls, Jeff, number 1 in the state of California.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, until today, I had thought, hey, this is a better team than we had seen when they won that national championship a few years ago. But I'll tell you, they're going to have to make some adjustments because teams now are going to use this film and say, hey, this is how you can kind of beat RCC. But we know Coach Kraft, how smart he is and innovative. Let's see if they can change up the script here in the second half.
From the 25, it's a 1st and 10. Dixon back at Q. Littles in motion. Play action. Back to throw. Eludes one tackler. And he's going to try to just throw it away. And he picks it. DeMarco Moorer with the interception. Dixon trying to throw it away as he was trying to elude Alex Silva Navarro. And the turnover deep in Canyon territory.
You can't throw a duck out of bounds.
Well, let me tell you something. Dixon got to be aware of it. That's just DeMarco Moore making a play. That's Moore making a play.
He is everywhere.
Now, maybe the inexperience hurt Dixon a little bit there, but I thought that was going to flutter to the turf incomplete, and DeMarco Moore said, no, sir, picking off his 6th interception on the season.
He could get, 2 hat tricks? Is that what it is?
His second multiple interception game.
Yeah.
He had 3 against Long Beach City, and 1st and 10 from the 30 for the Tigers. So 1 turnover converted by Canyons. Let's see if the Tigers can take advantage. Retzlaff complete to Gitchaway. Gitchaway with a nice little move. Pushed out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. Jeremiah Cox gives him a little bit of shove on the shoulder pads. So Gitchaway gets to the 15-yard line. Call it a 15-yard pickup. 1st and 10 RCC.
Now we're starting to see the engine moving a little bit here. Riverside obviously adjusting to that first half.
Here's the give. Diving inside the 14-yard line. Donovan Harvey with the carry on that one. Tackled by Sean Miller. Miller, the freshman from Quartz Hill, is high school as well. He's a Lancaster kid. Not to be confused with basketball coach Sean Miller. Who was at Arizona for many years.
And his brother, Archie, right?
Archie, right? At Dayton, right?
Yeah.
Clock moving.
He was at Indiana for a while.
I think he's in Indiana, yeah. 2 by 2. Harvey carrying, and down Harvey goes. Jeanette with the tackle, and that's that quick burst right there. James Jeanette from his defensive end position. So 3rd down coming up. Again, the Canyon defense standing up. So Norian Espadron along with Rashawn Lacey and Jordan Williams, that trips to the top of your screen. Get you way to the bottom of the screen. Here comes Norian Espadron in motion. Retzlaff to throw. Complete to Harvey. 5 to the pylon. Touchdown RCC. Instead, they're going to mark him out at the 1. So a 1st and goal coming up.
Yeah, I thought he got inside the pylon, but apparently not.
Flag on the play as well. So it's all going to come back anyway. First penalty of the second half on the Tigers. They've been penalized now 5 times for 40 yards. So it'll go back to 3rd down. Some decision to come up here. So 1st down would be to about the 7-yard line.
Riverside just 3 of 7 in 3rd down efficiency.
And it's 3rd and 7 here. So get you way to the bottom of the screen. Espadron, Lacey, and Williams to the top of your screen. Here's the give to Harvey up the middle. Harvey to pay dirt. Touchdown, Tigers. Just running behind those big boys in the middle of the offense. Riley, Schlafly, Kyle Scott, the big boys up front. Ulysses Umberto in there on the play out of Riverside Poly. PAT coming up. Mariquin adds the point after, and it's a 21-13 RCC lead, directly attributed to the interception by DeMarco Moore. They talk about defensive backs having ball skills. What a play he made to set that drive up, Jeff.
He is always in the right place at the right time, and that was just an extra effort for him to go up and get that football. Everybody thought it was going out of bounds. No, he was, John, like, as you would say, Johnny on the spot.
I mean,
right
just
there.
Yeah, after your son, Fast Johnny. But it's easy to, the quarterback Dick said, oh, why did he throw it away? I mean, all right, should he have looked? Of course. But, I mean, 99 out of 100 guys aren't making that play.
No, they are
Moore
not.
made the extra effort. He just made a play. I'll never forget, we saw Kevin Corridon last night at the Arlington game, and I did a game when they played against Santiago, when Blake Barnett was at Santiago, and they were doing everything they could do on defense, but he was just dicing them. They would leave one sliver open, and he would hit that sliver. That's why Nick Saban was flying him out to Alabama to recruit him. Marroquin booms it deep.
The great Blake Barnett.
Finished up at South Florida.
Yeah, but he married a professional surfer.
That's right.
He's a great guy.
From Santiago High School. So from the 25, it'll be 1st and 10 for Canyons. And now they'll need to kind of respond here a little bit, Jeff. So Samaj Freeman now in the backfield. He's a sophomore out of Oaks Christian. Dixon at the controls. Here's the play action, rolling to the outside. Complete at the 35-yard line to Littles. Sticks move up for Canyons.
Canyons continuing just to make the easiest play they can. They're not, like I said, they're not going for the home run ball.
Find a spot on the field that's open and deliver the ball there. It's a different sport, but in baseball, Wee Willie Killer, hit them where they ain't. Throw it where they ain't no defenders. But then maybe DeMarco Morris shows up a couple seconds later. 1st and 10 from the 36. The give up the middle to Freeman. Surges over the 40 to about the 42. Give him 5 yards on the carry. So still a 3-man front. The first 2 games we'd watched, predominantly 4-man fronts, but against this Canyon offense, a little adjustment from James Cook. Under 7 minutes to play here in the 3rd quarter. Trevor Gertch in the closest, flexed out to the far side. The give again, Freeman trying the right side this time. Runs head on into Kenton Allen, maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Kenton Allen, the sophomore from Silverado High. He's a Vegas kid. 3rd and 4 coming up.
The big 3rd down. Let's see.
Talk about international players. Tim Sauerland checks in. He's the freshman tight end out of Münster, Germany. He was the MVP of the Under-19 Junior Bowl Championship in Germany last year. 3rd and 4 coming up. Jacoby Taylor to the bottom of your screen. Play action running to the left side. Complete to Sauerland. He has the first down to midfield.
And that's the first 3rd down conversion since that first quarter. They're 2 of 9, now 3 of 10. So had some problems with the 3rd down efficiency, but big play there.
I thought you'd be more excited about completing the ball to the big kid from Münster.
Münster!
Into RCC territory, so they get to the 47 of the Tigers.
Like Münster cheese?
I believe that's where it comes from, that region of Germany. Or Bavaria, if you will. Freeman trying the left side, still on his feet. Garcia lassos him down after about a 2-yard pickup. Isaac Garcia, the sophomore from Camarillo, played at Grace Brethren for Josh Henderson.
Oh, yeah.
Old Fontana guy, former head coach at Aquinas High School, and then took over at Grace Brethren, led them both to CIF titles. 2nd down and 8 coming up.
But I like what College of Canyons is doing here. They're really taking their time.
Well, they've not abandoned their game plan. Taylor to the bottom of your screen. They'll go back to Anderson now, and Anderson runs into Talib Salahuddin. Ball loose. RCC says they have it. They'll unstack the pile. Yes. Talib Salahuddin makes a play for RCC. Another turnover.
Let's see if we can see the play here.
So Anderson just trying to get some extra yardage. Salahuddin riding him down.
No, he was.
Do you think he was down?
Yeah, he was down. He had 2 knees on the ground when that ball was released.
Tough break for Canyons here, and it's still a tight game, 21-13. Their defense now needs to stand up here, play around the turnover. So 1st and 10 from the 44. Retzlaff the turn and give to Strong, trying the right side. Still on his feet. Still burrowing forward to about the 49. So 5 yards on the play. I think Jeanette was at the bottom of the pile there, bringing him down. Also getting up from the bottom of the pile, Joshua Hatchett, the sophomore from Cajon, played for Nick Rogers.
Nick Rogers, been around forever. Cajon still formidable.
Man, they've been good for a long time.
Think about Jaden Daniels.
He built that thing, right?
Huh?
Nick built that thing,
Yes,
right?
he did.
2nd and 5 coming up. Keeping it on the ground. Finding some space is Harvey. Harvey to the 35-yard line. Burst for about 16 yards. Sticks move up. Clock moving.
When was the last time we could say that an RCC team this year has been run heavy and been successful? It's been Retzlaff. For the most part, he's been able to hit so many receivers in this offense. But this running game has been really the bright spot for RCC today.
Yeah, let's give credit to the big boys up front. Sheffley, Riley, Kyle Scott, Alan Rennie still in there, the freshman from Paraclete. Play action. Dancing to the outside is Retzlaff. Retzlaff inside the 30, 25, 20, 15 still on his feet, steps out of bounds at about the 10-yard line. Part of that was the pressure, right, on Retzlaff.
That's exactly
and
what
if you can run the football a little bit, you keep the pressure honest. So he stepped out of bounds at the 8, a 25-yard pickup by Jake Retzlaff, and it's 1st and goal, RCC.
Well, if you have space and all your receivers are being guarded, you're going to have to do something, and he made something out of nothing there.
Pressure has been good, and the coverage has been good.
It has.
For Canyons. And, the last touchdown was a result of a turnover. Now they got a turnover again, and the defense had to play the short field a couple of times. We've been impressed. I think you and I have both been impressed with Dan Corbett's defense for Canyons. Retzlaff slinging it. Incomplete. He was looking for Alfred Jordan. Ball incomplete. It'll be 2nd down. Another turnover, and let's see if the Tigers can convert it. Bottom of the screen is Tucker, near slot Jordan. Instead, the comeback, that worked once before to Jake Retzlaff, to Reggie Retzlaff, but this time they sniff it out. Nice play by Quentin Moten, the sophomore from Rancho Cucamonga. Probably knows Jake Retzlaff and Reggie Retzlaff from their days at Corona Centennial. 3rd down.
There's that quick sidearm delivery we've seen many times.
You say Mahomes, I say Phillip Rivers.
Let's go with Phillip Rivers.
I think it looks like Rivers.
Yeah, I agree.
Harvey in motion. Same play. They get it to Reggie Retzlaff, and down he goes. No, he still stays up. Finally pushed out of bounds by Justin Horton.
Man, Riverside's just going to get the points here. Looks like they're going to settle for a field goal.
So get to the 6-yard line, and it's 4th and goal. And Jacob Marquin comes out. It'll be a 23-yard field goal attempt. Would make it a 2-score game. And it's interesting now. So now you're kind of putting a little bit of I guess it didn't matter, really. You're putting a little more pressure potentially for Canyons as we get to the 4th quarter to maybe have to go for 2, right? That's kind of plays into the strategy as Marquin easily puts it through, and it's 24-13. So the turnover results in 3 points for RCC. The fumble recovery by the Tigers on the defensive side.
Hey, you got something out of it, and if you are the Tigers, you got to be happy with it. Because like I said, they're not the power station is not firing on all cylinders today. It's not fully operational, I should say.
When I talked with Ted Iacenda this week, by the way, he was very generous to me, gave me a lot of time. He talked about mistakes. He said, hey, I felt we've played kind of like I wanted to play the last 2 weeks. We played good teams, but we need to clean up mistakes. And in the first half, the mistakes were all being made by RCC.
Yes, they
10
were.
points directly related to mistakes by RCC. Now it's flipped a little bit, and those 10 points have come back on a couple of mistakes. Interception and a fumble have resulted in 10 points for RCC off of Canyon's mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
And Coach Iacenda specifically talked about turnovers.
And you and I have said this for years with this RCC team and high school teams that are very good. You can't make mistakes against good teams. It could come back and haunt you.
Another touchback. So 24-13. We have 95 seconds to play in the third quarter. Ghazal Hassan with you, along with Jeff Gorham. We got Nick the Kid Rice down on the sideline, mining information for us as we speak, like it's Bitcoin, The broadcast equivalent of Bitcoin, that's Nick. Nick's our crypto guy.
Yeah, see, I am one of those guys that really don't understand the cryptocurrency. Can you buy anything?
You got to get into it. You got to get into it. You know what? You know who'll help you? Luke and Johnny. Turn them onto it. Within a week, you'll know everything you need to know.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand the NFT thing either.
You tell Luke to go on YouTube and learn about crypto, and he'll tell you everything.
Those little kids, they'll figure it out.
1st and 10 from the 25. Here's the give to Freeman dancing around. He bounces away outside, and now Pelu takes him down after about a 1-yard pickup. So tackle on the play made by P.J. Pelu, the sophomore from Rancho Cucamonga. We got to hang out and do a couple baseball games in Rancho Cucamonga this summer, Jeff. It was fun.
We did. Worked with the great Mike Lindskog over at the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, and didn't we fill in for the Stockton Ports?
I filled in for the Stockton Ports, yeah. 2nd and 8, the great Alex Jensen. Dixon with the play action. He'll take it himself, trying to turn the corner, and he does. Gets over the 30 to about the 33-yard line. Tackle on the play, I believe that was Garcia. Indeed it was. Isaac Garcia with the tackle for RCC. So just short of the first down, 3rd and about 2.
And once again, College of the Canyon's taking advantage of what they can get. Not making plays hard. They're just doing the just amount to be successful here.
So Malik Brooks split out to the near side. Near slot is Calvin Littles. Instead, they'll give the ball to Freeman, puts his foot in the turf, bounces outside, and surges forward, gets the first down over the 40-yard line to about the 43, a 9-yard pickup, and the sticks move up.
The College of the Canyon is still in this one. We got a lot of football left.
A lot of time left. Third quarter will expire, and it's 24-13. So RCC now, in the third quarter, put up 17 points to none for College of Canyons to take the lead. 10 of those points, though, directly attributed to mistakes by the Cougars.
Yeah, exactly. But, offensively, let's talk about Riverside. Retzlaff's finally getting going. He only has 188 yards so far in the air, 16 of 27.
Well, so he threw for 100 yards in the first half and 88 in the third quarter. So that's a big improvement.
A huge improvement, and you're getting a lot of runs here from, Harvey had 36 yards. Jake Retzlaff, 27 yards rushing. Jaquez Jones, 20 yards. So those guys are starting to pick it up here a little bit in the third quarter. Jake Retzlaff moving the football with his legs.
Let's throw it down to the field. Nick Rice has an interview.
All right, I'm joined by Peyton Williams, the new athletic director at Riverside City College. Jim Woodridge had some big shoes for you to fill. Could we expect anything different from RCC with you in charge?
Jim's done a tremendous job here. The athletic directors even before him. This has been a traditionally great program. As a Riverside native, I'm just blessed and fortunate to have the position. Looking forward to keep continuing having students move on, have a great experience here, and accomplish their goals.
What would you say is the message and the theme of RCC athletics for those who aren't involved with Riverside and would like to know?
Absolutely. RCC is the best step for your next step with everything that you want to do. Whether you're going to be a student here, you're going to be a student athlete here. This is the best place for you to go to move on to the next step in your dreams. We do everything we can to make that happen for you.
In terms of athletics all across Riverside, throughout the course of our broadcast today and throughout the year, we've talked about how great the football team is, but there's far more sports that are succeeding at the highest level here.
Absolutely. We have 19 sports here. We're coming off of being the state champions in baseball. It's another conference championship for our men's basketball team. 14 of our sports made postseason play, and we're seen as the second best program overall in the state of California and in the top 10 across the nation when it comes to community colleges. This is the place to be when it comes to athletics.
Really an incredible resume that you guys have, and it's given you an opportunity to build some extra facilities and infrastructure here.
Yes, absolutely. We're right in the process now. Our wonderful board has approved building a new field and track for our team, not just for football, but for track and field, a place for our wonderful marching band to perform, our cheerleading teams that people got to see at halftime. Well, that's going to be a state-of-the-art field and track for the future, not just for these players, but for the young people in the community as well.
That's Peyton Williams, the athletic director for RCC. It seems as though the Tigers have an incredible athletics program that should have success for years to come. Guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. Couple of runs. Samaj Freeman had a big run that flipped the field, and right there, the quarterback, Bryce Dixon, gets down just outside the 10-yard line. So a 1st and 10. They can get a first down inside the 1, meaning Canyons rallying back here feverishly to start the 4th quarter. So from the 11, it's a 1st and 10. Here's the give up the middle. This is Sumlin pounding, and he gets to pay dirt. Touchdown, Canyons. 11-yard touchdown run by J.D. Sumlin, the freshman out of Mission Hills, Alameda High. And within a score are the Cougars of Canyons.
Wow, what a series by this Canyons offense here.
Well, it was the big boys up front. It was the offensive line. It was Stephen Eakins, Cole Smith, Donovan Reyes, Samialu Palu for Canyons, and the center, Gavin Quiros, the freshman out of Sierra Canyon. They really did a nice job just digging in, and it was that old-time religion, that old-fashioned running between the tackles. PAT up by Morrison, but a whistle before, and a false start on Canyons. First penalty of the second half on Canyons. They had 6 assessed to them in the first half. So the touchdown makes it 24-19 with 12:59 to play, and this field goal will make it or the extra point would make it a 4-point game.
Well, Canyons is kind of taking a page out of the playbook from Riverside. Riverside was so successful on their last couple drives running the football.
So that's good, and it's a 4-point game. This game taking on a little bit of the tenor of that game we called a couple of years ago with Long Beach City College over at RCC.
Yeah, that game was a thriller. But
that was different in the sense that Long Beach City had the lead going into the 4th quarter.
And then mistakes and just the toughness of Riverside. Let's see if they can hold off this. I'm telling you, this has been a great game so far for College of the Canyons.
Good response by Canyons, and it bears when I was talking with Coach Iacenda this week. He said, he's been there 10 years. He was there as an assistant when they won the national championship or the state championship in 2004, and he said, of course I always want to win, but I'm not in the mood really of chasing rings. Like, what I really believe in is helping guys develop, And we had a great conversation. He said, of course they're the guys who you can tell have the talent, but for whatever reason, whether it be grades or a behavioral problem, haven't ascended to D1, and we help them out, and that's great. But what he says his favorite thing is give me a decent high school football player who maybe has a little bit of a flaw. Let him come to me, let me develop him, and then let him go play somewhere. And he said that's what gives him fulfillment, him and his staff, that high level of fulfillment.
Yeah, you only can get one champion per season, but if you can champion your players and turn them into, viable players so they can go on, like you said, there are so many other options. It's not just Division I.
Right.
I mean, and that is really key. And you see all these RCC players, you see College of the Canyon guys, JC guys, and they do really fill the rosters of these smaller universities.
Because you were a junior college coach, so you understand
Yes.
what he says. And he says, you'll have a kid come in, maybe the first year didn't play a whole lot, then all of a sudden he's a starter, he gets on some radar, and somebody needs to fill a roster, and he gets an opportunity to get an education and play, maybe Division I or FCS college football, and those are the guys, because he says the dudes, everybody already knows who the dudes are. They just need to straighten out an issue. 1st and 10 from the 25 after the touchback, complete to Rashawn Lacey, and Lacey pushed out at about the 35-yard line, making the tackle on the play, Tylen Foster, the sophomore out of Cypress Woods High in Texas.
But see, if you have players at a JC level, you might be a kid that doesn't play a whole lot. You might be a second-string guy.
Right.
But you'll have an opportunity.
Here's Jaquez Jones. Flag comes in. He goes over the 45 to the 47. Very close to a first down, but let's see what the flag is. Tom Kraft told me something very similar when I talked with him earlier this year. We were talking about Jamal McGlory, who we saw at Arlington. And he said, so that's going to be tacked on after the 10-yard run, the personal foul
face
on
mask.
Canyons. But he said, we're talking about Jamal. He said he's a perfect example of a kid who kind of emerged late, and then he's not going to get a lot of D1 offers because of his size. But if he comes to a place like RCC and the scouts or the coaches can see him play at that same level for a couple of years, that earns him that next opportunity.
Yes.
And it's kind of similar to what Coach Iasenda said. Those are the guys that fulfill you that you can develop. 1st and 10 from the 38 for RCC. They're responding here. They lead at 24-20. Here's the comeback, the completion to Jordan Williams. Williams, a little bit of run after catch. Up to about the 32-yard line, and down he goes. Brian Snoke had his nose around the football, as did Tylen Foster.
So player development is really key, and it does build your program, makes you successful. You can't just have 11 guys that can play. You have to have, 1 through 80 have to be able to contribute in practice, and that's how you build culture. That's how you build success.
Get your way to the far side. In the far slot is Rashawn Lacey. Bottom of your screen is Jordan Williams. Here's the throw from Retzlaff. Sliding catch at the 15-yard line. Nice route run there by Rashawn Lacey. 17-yard pickup, move the sticks, 1st and 10, and now the Tigers' offense seems to be clicking.
Yeah, and Rashawn Lacey, really a big part of that. He's made a couple big catches here.
The sophomore out of Esperanza. I used to love the way Keith Jackson said Nebraska and Alabama, and I can say it when I say Esperanza. 1st and 10 from the 15. Jones. Here's Retzlaff. He's going to pull it down and run. 10-5, touchdown. Retzlaff with the scramble. Does it himself. 15-yard touchdown run, and the Tigers respond to the Canyon score.
Big-time play from a big-time player. Had nothing to throw it in the air. Said, I'll have to do it myself. And he's done it with his legs. Now, with 44 yards rushing to lead the Tigers.
And that was something he could do. We knew he could run the football, meaning Jake Retzlaff. PAT from Mariquin up and through. And it's 31-20, so back to a 2-score lead. We were talking about Ted Iasenda, the head coach of Canyons. So he mentioned he played at USC, and then he played at New Mexico. So while he was USC, among others, he played with Carson Palmer.
Not a bad player.
Number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. And then when he was at New Mexico, he played with Brian Urlacher. And he just said, I said, what did you get out of that? He said, it just shows you the level you need to be at to be that good is a guy who's constantly working, not taking days off, but more importantly, understanding how to take coaching. Taking coaching has kind of become a cliche, right? Something people throw out, people regurgitate without really thinking about it. And he goes, I really watched those guys, how they took the coaching. It really allowed you to understand why they were so good, right?
Yeah, because you're going to take something from the coach instead of being mad about it. You're going to do it.
But it's how you do it. It's, what kind of questions do they ask, right? Exactly. You're not being defensive. If you're constructive criticizing me, the questions I ask you tell me as much about you as they do about me.
Exactly.
A fascinating discussion I had with Coach. 31-20, and the Tigers will kick it off. Big drive coming up here for the Cougars. Wasi fields it. up to the 20, 25, up the middle, 30, 35. He'll dive down near the 40-yard line. Good field position for the Cougars.
Talking about gliding, what a great run there.
Dawit Wassey, Paraclete, sophomore out of Lancaster. And, we talk about RCC, so much talent to be able to draw from in the Riverside area. Up in Santa Clarita, they got a bunch of schools up there. We talked about Paraclete, Hart, Alamany, Sierra Canyon, a lot of talent at those schools as well. So Canyon's kind of in a similar spot to RCC, which probably explains a lot about their success.
Yeah, and now with the loosening of recruiting restrictions as well. I mean, this.
Yeah, they go get a guy from Sweden.
Yeah.
They bring in a guy from Germany, a couple guys from Germany.
Several guys from Florida.
A guy from the IE. Line is the 39. It's 1st and 10. Let's see what James Cook's defense has lined up here. Here's the give. Bouncing outside, Freeman. Up to midfield, still on his feet. Runs out of bounds at about the 48-yard line. Give it a 14-yard pickup. 1st and 10, Sticks move up. I understand now why I like James Cook so much.
Why is that?
Because he's a great defensive coordinator, one. And number two, UC Irvine graduate.
Oh, you definitely like him then.
He's an Irvine grad. Tells you why he's so smart, Jeff. From the 49, 1st and 10. Keeping it on the ground. Freeman this time runs up into Alonzo Gray Hall. Short gain. 2nd down coming up.
I'm starting to see a little bit of wear and tear on that offensive line. You see guys putting their hands on their knees after plays.
They've played well. That's a great unit.
It has.
I mean, RCC's got a great O-line, Jeff. This is probably the line I've been impressed most with on the season.
I agree 100%. They have been working, but it's got to be taxing when you have those Tigers coming right at you.
Here's the give to Sumlin, trying to get the edge, and he will not. He'll be ridden down maybe after a yard or so. Orozco makes the tackle, Arturo Orozco, for RCC. And they've had to move some pieces around. Guys haven't been healthy up front. I think the unit they have in now is the unit they want, with Quiros at center, Reyes and Palu on one side, and Eakins and Smith on the other side. But they've had to shift and move some guys in and around. They've been pretty deep. 3rd and 9 from the 48 of RCC. A big play coming up. In motion is Gertch. Rolling right, throwing incomplete. Littles was the intended receiver. On the defense, Lovewin Don Willies for RCC. 4th down.
A great defensive stop there after a couple great runs, though, from College of the Canyons.
Getting back to RCC, Jeff, some of these rankings that just came out recently. So Canyons ranked 17th. They're the opponent today as Morrison checks back in. And knowing your affection for kickers, I know you're a big-time Morrison fan. Norbert Espadron will field the kick. Dives down at about the 16-yard line where he'll field it. So a 36-yard kick, no return. And that's where RCC will start it off.
You got to like the confidence in Espadron there catching that football.
So getting back to the rankings, Canyons ranked 17th. On the 22nd, right here on Riverside TV, we'll have the matchup against Mount Sac. Mount Sac is 3rd right now. They'll go November 4th to Cerritos, who's ranked 4th. Golden West was 3rd. They're now 8th. That was last week's opponent. Long Beach City was 11th when they played RCC. They're now 17th. Palomar, who they'll play on October 8th next week, is 13th. El Camino will come here on the 29th. They're 15th. So a lot of ranked teams, and also receiving votes. Mount San Jacinto received some votes this week. Chaffee, who they play, will receive some votes. And Saddleback, as we look at the rankings there on the schedule. So officially marked at the 17, 1st and 10. Jones trying to cut back up inside. Now he'll reverse field, go to the outside. Look at Jake Retzlaff out there leading the block. He's run out of bounds by Wassey. So we'll see what the call is, a flag on the play. What have you thought of Ty Morrison? I cut you off. Sorry about that. Canyon's kicker.
He is fun to watch. Yeah, he's kicked it on Magnolia almost a couple times.
So it'll go back to about the 9-yard line. It'll be first down. Line to get will still be the 28. Ghazal Hassan, Jeff Gorham with you. The great Nick Rice on the sideline. 8:48 to play. RCC trying to salt this one away. Here's a huge defensive sequence for Canyons.
Man, if they're going to get back in this thing here, I mean, and they have an opportunity. This is a big, big play and a big series.
Both teams have done a great job converting mistakes. So you want to stay mistake-free as Retzlaff takes the snap. Throw complete to the middle of the field. Espadron's got some speed. He gets away from the first tackler up to the 30-yard line, trying to dance around, and down he goes. Nice job by Tylen Foster to keep him right there. 23-yard pickup moves the sticks.
Espadron all over the field. Back and forth, up and down, everywhere.
He's a guy who can be gone in a flash, so a nice job by Foster making the play for Canyons to make sure he didn't get any more space.
That was a big hit at the end of the play there. It could have resulted in a fumble. I don't think he saw him coming.
24-yard completion. Here's the give to Jones. Jones slips through. He's over to the Canyon side of the field and will be brought down from around the ankles. Wassey there along with Horton. So call it a 17-yard pickup. Actually call it a 20-yard pickup. They're all the way to the 47 of Canyons. Jones running up the middle, keeps the clock churning. Tackle on the play by David Francis Jr. He's the sophomore out of Ulysses S. Grant High School. Give him about 6 on the play. Second down and about 4. This is Strong trying the outside. He'll be stopped just before the marker. Coming in and making the hit, Ashton Thomas, 5'9" sophomore out of Hart High in Santa Clarita.
Well, they're saying he didn't get out of bounds. That clock is running.
Hart High, also the alma mater of Canyons head coach Ted Iacenda. Fourth quarter, it's been a good one here. RCC looking for the coup de grace here. Espadron in motion, he'll reset. Strong running left. Bobs off one tackle, ball comes loose. Ball still loose on the turf. It looks like RCC got it back. Canyons had the first shot at it. It was the big tight end, Wyatt McClure, fell on it at about the 43-yard line.
Yeah, so look at the replay here. Man, that would have been huge if Canyons could have landed on that thing. But I'm glad Riverside able to pick it up here. Right off the helmet.
Both teams been laying the leather today. A lot of hard hits on both sides. So 4th down and 1 coming up. Now, if Ricardo Chavez were here, we'd be looking at a field goal right now, Jeff.
Automatic.
They're at the 37. It'd be about a 54-yard field goal right now. 4th and 1, and finally a timeout by RCC. 5:38 to play here in the fourth quarter. 4th and 1. Second assessed timeout to RCC, and the Canyons defense will talk it over as well. 31-20. Great job by the defense at Canyons in the first half. They held RCC to 130 yards and just 7 points.
Yes, they did. And since then, Jake Retzlaff has 145 yards in the air in the second half. And he's got
that's more than they had in the whole first half.
Yeah,
so
he has 56 or 44 running yards here in the second half.
At the college and at the high school level in particular, you love seeing the adjustments.
Yes, you
because
do.
It's a huge difference from first to second half. And we watched James Cook for many years now, and he's one of the best at making adjustments. I like, John Corbett's done a great job today for Canyons as well. 10 of those points for the Tigers have come off mistakes. So Gitchaway comes out. They're going to punt it away. And pin him back. Here's the punt. Calling for the fair catch. It'll bounce at the 5 and go dead at the 8-yard line. So about a 30-yard kick, no return. And that's where Canyons starts the drive here. It's a big one. 5:27 to play in this one, Jeff.
Yeah, if they're going to have to score quickly and try somehow to get the football back. So I like what Coach Kraft did. Instead of going for it on 4th and 1, he said, hey, we're going to put you back and make you traverse 90-plus yards.
Defense
and score twice.
Defense has done a good job just allowing one score here in the second half. Came earlier in the fourth quarter. Touchdown run by the quarterback for Canyons. His name is Bryce Dixon. Dixon doing a nice job. Had only thrown 14 passes coming in today, but at Quartz Hill, he'd been a 2-year starter. Threw for nearly 2,400 yards, 26 touchdowns, 18 INTs. Has a big pick today, though, but that was more of a big play by DeMarco Moorer as Samaj Freeman dances down up to the 10-yard line. 2nd and 8 coming up, so not abandoning the running game. All 3 timeouts left for the Cougars. Let's see how they manage this.
Yeah, I firmly believe. I thought what Coach Kraft did was pretty smart because with 3 timeouts, you still have to go 90 yards and get the ball back. I think he played the odds, the average, and that's why he is the head coach.
2-by-2 for the Cougars. Back to throw Dixon. He'll throw to the right side. Complete to about the 19. Out of bounds with the catch is Joshua Littleberry. The tackle on the play from Kenton Allen for RCC. Very close to a first down. In fact, they'll have it and move the sticks.
And that's where they've been most effective all day long, is hitting the sideline just past the line of scrimmage, getting those extra 5-6 yards.
They did a great job in the first half, moving the ball, taking what was available underneath. And they have some guys that can run after the catch. They do have some speed on the outside. Far slot Gertz, far side Littleberry. Throw to the tight end Josh Smith. Smith spun down nearly immediately at the 19-yard line.
Taking a short loss there, too.
Getting up from the bottom of the pile, Alonzo Gray Hall, but there's a bevy of black shirts around him. 3 receivers now. Well, 2 receivers now to the bottom of the screen. That's Jacoby Taylor nearest to the number. Next to him is Calvin Littles.
Look for College Canyons, if they don't get a first down here, to call a timeout on the 3rd down.
Throw to the outside, complete to the 30-yard line. Making the catch, Jacoby Taylor, the freshman from Paraclete.
Now, I would take a timeout right now just because you have 3 and you're running out of time here.
Here comes the short yardage package in. Spearman in. And the big fella Latson checks in. He's a defensive tackle. Here's the handoff, and Spearman looks like he has it. Run right into Orozco's hands. They'll mark it over the 30 to the 31. He'll have the first down.
Let's see where they mark it. It's going to be close, Kazal.
I think he already signaled first down.
Did he?
Unless they're going to make a measurement. I thought Mr. Chastain signaled first down. I thought.
I think he did, but I honestly think they're going to have to come out and measure it. They're going to bring out the chain gang.
So 3rd and 1 right now, but let's see if they got it. .254 to play. The back judge, Dwayne Bergman, doing his best Rodin impersonation. Here come the chain gang. I miss not knowing who the chain gang is, Jeff. I got to admit.
No, it's always great. It's the only time we get to really see them.
Yeah, first down by about the length of the football. I guess that's my low-key way of saying I miss Yancey Dodson. Don't tell him, though.
Low-key.
Don't tell him. Yeah, low-key. I don't want him to know. Yancey, of course, many years the basketball coach at Riverside Poly, retired, and he also used to be on their chain gang when we did the games over at Poly.
Now he is given it up. He is Mr. Family Guy now. We miss him.
So Littleberry to the top of the screen in the far slot is Gertch. Here's the first down play, looking for it all. He's got Taylor in stride. Taylor to the 10 to the 5, touchdown. 69-yard strike from Dixon to Jacoby Taylor. And how about that for a big play, Jeff?
That is the first time, like you had said, they have speed, but they haven't gone over the top the entire game. And what a time to call it. And plenty of time here. I thought if Riverside could have made a stop, it would have been game over.
And that's kind of an inexperienced quarterback. You're putting the ball in his hands to make the play.
And you got to go for two. You have to. Because then you're just a field goal away from a tie. You have to go for two here.
So here you go. Here's the 2-point play coming up. So Dixon says something to Calvin Littles, and Littles will go down in the near slot. Taylor to the near side. Littleberry to the top of your screen in the far slot is Tavius Jenkins.
And they're in a man-to-man defense here.
2-point conversion coming up. Littles shuttles into motion. Here's the roll to the right side. Underneath to Littles, and the conversion is successful. They were setting Calvin Littles up that whole time, Jeff Gorin, and the 2-point conversion is converted by Canyons.
You saw it. You said it. There was a little conversation, and it was one-on-one coverage. That's what I said when they went to man-to-man. It was get open, you're my guy.
Sometimes, though, when the quarterback pulls a running back or a receiver over, it's to decoy.
Yeah.
It's to decoy. But in that case, they went right to Calvin Littles based on the matchups. And you mentioned it. They were in man-to-man. They played some numbers.
Yes,
and
they did.
Littles' number got called, and he made the catch. He had to make a nice catch. That wasn't an easy play to make. We talked about DeMarco Moore earlier. There's Calvin Littles making a play for his squad to make it a 3-point game. So Hans' team looks like they'll be in. So the Hans team is definitely on for Canyons. Will they kick the onside? They're not set up as if to kick the onside, but let's see. They'll boom it. Well, here we go. They're going to put it on the defense. So we've talked about Don Corbett a lot today. His defense did a great job in the first half. Can they make one last stand for Canyons? If you're RCC, you had some success in the second half running the football.
I'll tell you what, talking about those 3 timeouts, they have 3, Riverside only with 1 here.
But if you're Tom Kraft now, you go for the score, right? Because the other team has the 3 timeouts. You're not really going to work clock. You play to score, correct?
You have to play to score, or you have to play out of range, because you only have 1 timeout left, and you have to get some yardage.
1st and 10, they'll take it to the ground. Here's the give. Twisting forward and tumbling to the ground after about a 2-yard pickup on the play. Cam Leofa running, the freshman out of Corona, Mater Dei High School product. And Canyons will stop the clock.
There's that first timeout.
So you'll keep the ball on the ground because they're going to need to stop the clock.
Yes.
But a 5-yard pickup is the key there by Leofa. What a great chess match. Nick used the term earlier. It's been a good chess match on both sides. Now it's Tom Kraft is running the offense against Don Corbett and the defense for Canyons.
I really firmly believe Tom Kraft made the right choice. They just happened to get a nice strike down the field over the top. But, wow.
That was the big difference last year. If you talk to James Cook or Tom Kraft, against Canyons, they felt we gave up too many big plays.
Yeah.
They did not do that today. They really guarded against the big play and were fairly successful until the big strike to Jacoby Taylor late in that one.
I mean, that was the first throw. They went down the field.
And we said this when DeMarco Moore made that touchdown. That was Canyons making a play.
Yes.
Just making a play at the right time.
They stopped him on that 3rd down. Game over. They They didn't.
They did not. Second down and 5 coming up. Retzlaff to the line. He'll adjust. Turns and gives to Harvey. Harvey running left. Harvey turns the corner, very close to a first down, but stays inbounds. So here's the other question is, if you can score, well, yeah, it's a different situation because it would be a 2-point game. In those close games, sometimes, remember that Cleveland Browns game a couple of weeks ago where the Jets rallied back from 2 touchdowns down to win that game, and the coach talked about it afterwards. Like, maybe at this point, when you're ahead, you don't, by 1 score, you tell them not to score because they had no timeouts left.
Yeah.
So if he just stops at the 10-yard line, they can just run the clock out rather than scoring and giving them a chance to score, get the onside kick and score again.
Well, if Riverside's able to get this third down, I think.
Yeah, this is a game right here.
This is all.
3rd and 1. First down is over the 35. Line at the 34-yard line. I wouldn't be shocked to see Retzlaff with this one, Jeff. Retzlaff taking himself. He's had a couple of nice runs on the game already. Third down from the 34. Here's the give right up the middle and a first down. Donovan Harvey gets up to the 39-yard line, and they'll move the sticks. So Ted ISN is going to keep that timeout. 2:05 as we're ticking down to 2 minutes remaining. And if you're RCC now, you're going to keep it on the ground. Well, it's been a good one. Good effort on both teams. So Reggie Retzlaff splits out to the bottom of the screen. The turn and the give to Harvey, and he stopped nearly immediately, maybe a yard on the play. Coming in and making the play for Canyons is David Francis Jr. Clock continues to move. Under 90 ticks left in this one. 2nd and 9 coming up. 1 timeout left for Canyons. I'm guessing they'll exhaust that if it's 3rd down. So one more play coming up.
They're going to have to do it here after the 3rd down. I was just doing the math.
So Retzlaff to the near side, near slot, Lacey for RCC. 2nd down and 8 from the 41. Harvey turns left. Harvey lost the football. Canyons recovers. Samaj Williams, the former Tiger, scoops it up just inside midfield with 54 4/10 seconds to play. Oh, wow, they're going to say he was down. Knee down. They're stopping the clock. The ball will stay with the Tigers, but it's still going to be 3rd down.
Let's look at the replay. Let's see if it's.
What do you think, Jeff?
I think he's down.
I can't really tell from the glare.
Yeah, but he appears to be down. His legs are down.
So Canyons will stop the clock here on 3rd and 4. And now the Tigers will talk it over. So we thought it was a turnover, but instead the ball carrier, Donovan Harvey, ruled down as his knee hit the turf before the ball came out. So 31-28, 54 4/10 seconds. Well, if you walked into Ramona High School this afternoon, Jeff, you got your money's worth. That's all I got to say.
Wow, that was a close one. I mean, I think that's a good call because he is. I mean,
so the knee is down there and the ball comes out.
I think both are.
Yeah. I mean, it's so close on the replay. I don't know how you assess that with the naked eye.
Yeah, that's one you almost, as a referee.
Like, I don't think that ruling would have been overturned. If we had replay, they couldn't have overturned it.
No, they couldn't have.
3rd down and 4. Play action. Here's the game right here. Here's Retzlaff trying to run for the first down. Slides down close. Let's see. They're going to mark him short. They mark him short. The clock continues to run. No timeouts left for Canyons. And now they're going to stop the clock. That was Shane Smith stopping the clock.
So there's going to be 8 seconds. If they don't get this, there'll be 8 seconds.
I think they're going to be just short, Jeff, with the spot.
Yeah, I think so, too. So they're going to take off. So there will be 2 seconds.
No, he said the play clock, right?
Yeah, the play clock, he's dropping it down. It's 38.5. They're going to drop it down to 32 now.
No, that's the game clock. The play. I thought he was talking about the play clock.
Oh, play clock, are they?
So you just run a play, right? You just run a play on 4th down. Yeah.
Yes.
So the game
46.
clock will be reset to 46, and the play clock goes to 32.
Okay, gotcha.
That's what I thought. Yeah, we're getting in and out with the mic, with the official's mic. It's kind of cutting in and out, so we couldn't really tell.
And the fans from College of the Canyon are screaming below us.
This is where you need Batdorf. You line up and run that double wing Batdorf for the 1 yard. Now remember something. If they stop him on 4th down, the clock stops.
There we go.
So 31-28. Here it is. A big 4th down play coming up, Jeff. 3-point lead. The Tigers can finish it off here. A game challenge, though, from the Cougars of the College of Canyons. Of course, the Cougars don't want it to be a game challenge. They want a shot to tie this ball game. So 4th and 1. Line is the RCC 48. They need to get over the 49 for the first down.
So there's 5-second differential between the
clock moving. They'll take the snap in about 5 seconds. So, yeah, it'll be about 5 seconds left. And now RCC takes a timeout with about 4 seconds to play. And I'm guessing they'll punt it, Jeff. Or do you take a knee?
No, you got to punt it. You got it.
Do you? I just have the punter catch the ball and kneel. Because if you punt it and gets blocked.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Or you just run around if you're the punter.
I mean, I wouldn't even. It's because you say don't mess with the shotgun snap.
Yes.
But a lot of these now, if you've grown up playing the spread, you're not used to that normal center snap.
No.
So you have a fumble on the exchange. So they'll just bring the punt team out.
Good call.
It'll fall to Jared Campbell. Campbell out of Rochester. Spent a year at Pitt as a redshirt, then at Houston Baptist. Very strong leg. Tom Kraft. Very confident in his abilities. 6 seconds left. Here we go. Last play, ostensibly, of this one. Here's the punt. And out of bounds, there'll be a half a second left. So a 40, the ball from the 48 down to the 8-yard line. So a 44-yard kick and 1 shot left for College of Canyons. They'll get to run 1 play.
Yeah, if he kicks that ball inbounds, it's game over.
So from the 8-yard line, Canyons will get one final shot. It's been a dandy, though.
It's the most fun we've had watching a football game all season long for us.
Number one team in the state, RCC, against a stiff challenge from another ranked team, College of Canyons. These teams met about a year ago, almost a year ago to the day, and it was the Cougars with the 41-24 win. In 2019, in the SCFA Championship, Southern California State Title Championship, it was the Tigers with a big 61-28 win. So here we go. Barring a penalty, should be the final play of the game. Throw to the outside, complete to Littleberry. Littles will be tackled, and that's the ball game. Arturo Orozco finishes it off for the Tigers of RCC, 31-28 RCC over Canyons. And we weren't in Manila, Jeff, but this was a thriller.
Oh, man, what a game. I'll tell you what, coming into this, I thought nobody could stop the offense of RCC, but got to tip our caps off to College of Canyons. They did an amazing job defensively against the number one ranked team in the state. But, man, Coach Kraft doing what he does, out-coaches and wins that ball game.
Defensive coordinator Don Corbett for Canyons in the first half held the Tigers to 7 points and 130 yards. They bounced back in the second half, making some adjustments. But you got to tip your cap to the Cougars of Canyons and also to RCC. You know, they were down early. Things weren't going right. They were making mistakes, but they rightened the ship in the second half, Jeff. And I think they did it in a couple of ways. They made some plays on defense. They converted some turnovers into points. And more importantly, they ran the football in the second half, Jeff.
They ran the football, and they ran it well. They had first down and made big plays in third downs.
Second half, the first half they only ran for 30 yards, Jeff. The rushing yards for RCC. Total yards ended up being 416 yards. And we'll send it down to Nick Rice. He has got Tom Kraft after this hard-fought victory.
All right, we're joined by head coach Tom Kraft of the Tigers. You had been imploring throughout the year that you guys need to do a better job running the ball. 2 minutes to go up by 3. You guys ran for a first down, chewed up some clock, and helped win the game.
Well, we got to get the tough yards when we need to get them, and we get the finesse yards with the draws and those type of things. But when you really need it, you got to get the tough yards. So we had to be able to run the ball and be more of a counterpunch team today. And we had a really poor first half, turning the ball over in every area, defense, offense, special teams, and we showed a little character today by coming back in the second half.
Yeah, how'd you feel about your guys in the second half? The offense just wasn't clicking early, but you guys figured out a way to take the lead and hang on.
Well, we weren't going to tell them anything. It didn't matter what place we called.
Guys.
We had to get our focus on, and it was a character check. It really was, and the guys rallied. This will be good. We need a bye right now, and all the games are going to be a death match right now in conference, so that's what we're going to get ready for now.
Yeah, you guys have been playing in some blowouts, and now you had a chance to play in a close game. That has to feel pretty good going forward because in the playoffs, you're going to play these close games at some point.
We are? Well, we got to win the next game. That's all we're focused on right now.
Well, congratulations, Coach. A great start to the year, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
All right. All right, guys, back to you to wrap it up.
The great Tom Kraft, the number that jumps out at me, Jeff, I was looking for it while we were setting up for Nick Rice. 30 rush yards in the first half, 141 yards in the second half, and that was the big number to me for RCC because coming into the game, the defense of College of Canyons on the season was allowing an average of 92 yards on the ground. So when they opened up in the second half and were able to run the football, that was the big difference to me in this one that allowed RCC to get the victory. Plus, they were able to capitalize on a couple of Canyons mistakes.
Yeah, and it was kind of the flip strip. I mean, that's what Canyons did in the first half to him. And really, I think they just played off one another so well. And Coach Kraft, as always, does a great job.
Yeah, RCC bouncing back in the second half, and he made a good point, showing some character. If you're a Canyons fan, I think this is a tremendous debut, and I know it wasn't the first game he played, but the first significant action for Bryce Dixon, the freshman out of Lancaster. He showed me a lot today. I don't know what you thought, Jeff.
I thought he was fantastic. I mean, talk about guys that step up. He's one of those guys that has really saves games for you. He saved a game.
31-28, the final RCC over College of Canyons, and that wraps it up. The Tigers go to 5-0 on the year. They drop the Cougars to 2-3. So until next time, folks, for Jeff Gorham, for Nick Rice, and our entire award-winning Riverside TV crew, my name's Ghazal Hassan. The final tonight, 31-28, RCC over College of Canyons. Happy homecoming to all the Tigers who are tuned in or listening to us in the stands. So long, everybody.